Tarot is a tool of imagery, symbolism, and deep personal insight. At its heart, it's a deck of 78 cards that works like a mirror, reflecting our lives, emotions, and choices back to us. Each card is rich with archetypal meaning, inviting us to explore our path through stories, patterns, and symbols. The deck is split into two parts, the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana. The Major Arcana consists of 22 cards representing life-changing events and spiritual lessons, the big picture moments, from the fool's first step into the unknown to the world's completion of the journey. The Minor Arcana holds the remaining 56 cards, organised into 4 suits: Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. Each suit has its own focus and energy, representing different aspects of the human experience. Wands connect to creativity, action, and ambition, the spark of ideas and the drive to see them through. Cups explore the realm of emotions, relationships, and intuition, the heart's truth and the currents of feeling. Swords embody the mind, clarity, communication, and challenges that sharpen our judgment. Pentacles are grounded in the physical, money, work, health, and the tangible results of our effort. Tarot's story begins in the mid-15th century in Europe, where it wasn't originally used for divination at all. The earliest decks, like the Visconti Sforza, were beautifully painted for noble families and used to play a game called tarocchi. It wasn't until the 18th century that French and English occultists began linking the imagery to mystical wisdom, forever changing the way tarot was seen. Figures like Antoine Coeur de Gebelin and Jean-Baptiste Alliette, known as Atea, were instrumental in shaping tarot as a spiritual tool. One of the most important milestones came in 1909 with the publication of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, created by occultist Arthur Edward Waite and illustrated by Pamela Colman Smith. Pamela Colman Smith, or Pixie as she was affectionately known, was a black biracial British woman of Jamaican and English heritage. She was an artist, storyteller, and visionary who brought the tarot to life in a way no one had before. Until her work, most minor arcana cards were depicted only as pips, simple arrangements of symbols without scenes or people. Pamela changed everything. She illustrated each and every card with vibrant narrative scenes, giving readers imagery they could connect with instantly and intuitively. For me as a tarot reader, her story is deeply personal and profoundly inspiring. Here was a woman of colour, living in the early 20th century, navigating the artistic and occult worlds in Britain, spaces that were not always welcoming or inclusive. And yet, she created something timeless that continues to shape how tarot is read today. Her artistry was underappreciated in her lifetime, and she died in relative obscurity, never having received the recognition or financial reward she deserved. And yet, over a century later, her images remain the most widely recognised tarot art in the world. As a reader myself, seeing Pamela's resilience and creative brilliance reminds me that our contributions can have ripples far beyond our own lifetime. She showed that intuition, art, and imagination can transcend boundaries, cultural, racial, and even temporal. Whenever I pick up my deck, I feel I am honouring her legacy, standing in a tradition she helped define. So how does tarot actually work? Think of it as storytelling through symbols. You shuffle the deck with a question or situation in mind, then draw cards and interpret the imagery and symbolism in the context of your life. Traditional spreads like the Celtic cross can be used, or you might simply pull a few cards and let the narrative unfold. Tarot can be a spiritual guide, a tool for decision-making, or simply a way to connect with your inner voice. It doesn't have to be mystical to be meaningful. Many readers focus on the psychological and archetypal aspects rather than fortune-telling. At its core, it's about perspective, reflection, and insight. With that foundation in place, let's explore the 4 suits. The suit of Wands, linked to the element of fire, Wands are all about movement, inspiration, and ambition. They mark the spark that begins a project, the energy that drives you forward, and the passion that sustains you. They speak to our creative force, our determination, and our will to act. The suit of Cups, associated with water, cups explore the flow of feelings, love, connection, and intuition. These cards can reflect moments of joy, heartbreak, compassion, or self-discovery. They remind us that emotional wisdom is just as vital as logic. The suit of swords, connected to the element of air. Swords represent the mind. They deal with truth, clarity, communication, and often the challenges and conflicts that test our resilience. They can be sharp and direct, but also bring understanding and solutions. The suit of pentacles, rooted in the element of earth. Pentacles cover the tangible aspects of life, work, finances, health, and home. They are the cards of stability, patience, and the long-term results of steady effort. Each suit contains numbered cards from ace to 10, representing stages of a journey, as well as 4 court cards, page, knight, queen, and king, each embodying a particular personality or approach within that suit's theme. Together, these suits and the major arcana create a layered, nuanced system for exploring life from every angle: spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. Tarot's beauty lies in its flexibility. It can be studied as an art, a spiritual practice, a psychological tool, or even a creative spark. Whether you are just beginning or have been reading for years, the cards will always have something new to show you. So as we dive into each suit in detail, remember, the tarot is not here to tell you a fixed future. It's here to illuminate your path, reveal possibilities, and give you the wisdom to walk forward with clarity and confidence. And always, in the background of that journey, I think of Pamela Coleman Smith, a woman whose vision shaped the very images that speak to us today. Her work reminds me, and I hope it reminds you too, that when we pour our creativity into something we love, we are building a legacy, one that can inspire generations long after we are gone. Welcome to the journey of the Major Arcana, the heart and soul of the tarot. The Major Arcana consists of 22 cards, numbered from 0 to 21, beginning with the Fool and ending with the World. Unlike the Minor Arcana, which deals with day-to-day events and personal details, the Major Arcana reveals life's big themes, spiritual lessons, pivotal experiences, and archetypal energies that shape our growth and transformation. These cards are not just illustrations, they're symbols of the human journey. The Fool's innocent leap into the unknown begins a cycle known as the Fool's Journey, a metaphor for each of our paths through life. Along the way, the Fool encounters figures like the Magician, the Lovers, Strength, and the Hermit, each teaching a lesson, challenging a belief, or revealing a deeper truth. The Major Arcana can be thought of as chapters in a story, one that moves from birth and curiosity through challenge, change, and enlightenment, all the way to completion and integration. When one of these cards appears in a reading, it usually points to something significant. It may be a turning point, a deep inner process, or a call to reflect on your purpose and path. Each card carries layers of meaning, visual symbolism, spiritual associations, astrological links, and elemental energy. Together, they create a map of the soul's evolution, from innocence to experience, from chaos to clarity. So whether you're reading tarot for guidance, reflection, or personal growth, the Major Arcana offers a powerful lens into the story behind the moment. This isn't just fortune-telling, it's a mirror, a journey, and an invitation to meet yourself, not just as you are, but as you're becoming. Welcome to the world of tarot, where every card is a story waiting to unfold. Today we explore the Fool, numbered 0, the beginning and end, the start of every journey. Imagine a young traveller standing at the edge of a cliff. He gazes skyward, blissfully unaware of the drop before him. A small white dog follows faithfully at his heels, as if warning or encouraging him. In one hand he holds a white rose, a symbol of innocence and purity. In the other, a small knapsack, all he carries into the unknown. Behind him, mountains rise in the distance, suggesting the trials and triumphs yet to come. Above, the sun blazes with clarity and hope. The Fool upright signals new beginnings, spontaneous adventures, and the courage to take a leap of faith. It invites you to trust in the journey ahead, even if the path isn't clear. There's beauty in the unknown, and sometimes progress means stepping into it with open arms and a curious heart. But reversed, the message shifts. It warns of reckless choices, impulsive behaviour, and the need for caution. Are you ignoring wise counsel or leaping without looking? Astrologically, the Fool is linked to Uranus and Aquarius, symbols of innovation, originality, and the freedom to be entirely yourself. Its element is air, echoing a sense of limitless potential. When the Fool appears in a reading, it often marks a time of unpredictability, change, and brave beginnings. Whether upright or reversed, it asks, are you ready to walk your own path? So next time the Fool turns up, pause and ask yourself, where in your life could a little faith take you somewhere entirely new? Today we meet the Magician, card number 1 in the Tarot's major arcana. He stands confidently at his altar, one hand raised to the sky, the other pointing to the earth. As above, so below. He is the channel between thought and reality, spirit and matter. Before him lie the symbols of the 4 suits: the wand, cup, sword, and pentacle. These represent the elements, the tools of life, and the magician's mastery over them. Above his head floats the infinity symbol, a reminder that his potential has no limits. Around his waist, a snake biting its tail speaks of transformation and cycles. He is surrounded by blooming flowers, manifestations of the seeds he's already sown. Upright, the magician represents power, focus, and the ability to manifest your goals. It's a call to action. You have what you need. Now is the time to use your skills, your voice, and your will. Opportunities are at your fingertips if you act with clarity and intent. Reversed, however, the energy turns inward or becomes distorted. Here, the magician warns of manipulation, confusion, or misused potential. Are you being honest with yourself and others? Are you using your influence wisely? This card is ruled by Mercury, planet of communication, intelligence, and movement. Its connection to Gemini and Virgo reinforces its message: adapt, plan, and execute with purpose. The magician's element is air and earth combined, where thought becomes form. When this card appears, it signals a powerful time for creation and transformation. But remember, what you manifest is shaped by your intention. Choose wisely. So ask yourself, what are you ready to create? And more importantly, are you ready to step into your own power? Meet the High Priestess, card number 2 of the major arcana. Guardian of hidden knowledge and sacred wisdom. She sits serenely between 2 pillars, one black, one white. Boaz and Yakin, symbols of duality, balance, and mystery. She wears a flowing robe and a crown shaped like the triple moon, representing the maiden, mother, and crone, the divine feminine in all its phases. In her lap, a scroll marked Torah rests partly concealed, reminding us that not all knowledge is ready to be revealed. Behind her, a veil patterned with pomegranates separates the visible from the unseen. Beneath her feet lies a crescent moon, intuition, the subconscious, and the ever-turning cycle of inner growth. Upright, the High Priestess encourages reflection, silence, and the power of listening to your inner voice. It's not a time for action, but for observation. Answers are within reach, but they must be sensed rather than seen. She invites you to trust your instincts, honor your dreams, and protect your sacred space. Reversed, this card can point to confusion, ignored intuition, or secrets kept too tightly. Perhaps you're disconnected from your inner knowing or afraid to trust it. It's a gentle nudge to realign with your inner truth. Ruled by the moon and aligned with the sign of Cancer, the High Priestess is deeply emotional, intuitive, and sensitive. Her element is water, the realm of dreams, psychic insight, and emotional depth. When she appears, it's a powerful reminder that not all truths are logical. Some are felt, lived, and revealed only when we are quiet enough to listen. So ask yourself, are you tuning out the noise of the world long enough to hear the wisdom of your own soul? Welcome the Empress, card number 3 in the major arcana, and the embodiment of creation, beauty, and abundance. She sits upon a luxurious throne, surrounded by a lush landscape of forest, river, and golden fields of wheat. This is not just nature, it's nature in full bloom. She wears a robe patterned with pomegranates, ancient symbols of fertility and life force. A crown of 12 stars rests upon her head, connecting her to the cycles of the moon and the rhythms of the natural world. In her hand, a golden scepter, a symbol of her sovereignty over all that grows and flourishes. Upright, the Empress speaks of nurturing energy, creativity, and growth. She may signal the birth of a child, a project, or a new phase of life. Her message is one of encouragement. Cultivate what matters, tend to what feeds your spirit, and let your creativity flow freely. She invites you to care, to nourish, and to connect with the natural rhythms of life. Reversed, her energy becomes blocked or excessive. Perhaps you're giving too much and neglecting yourself, or struggling with creative stagnation. She asks you to find balance. You can't nurture others if your own well is empty. Astrologically, the Empress is ruled by Venus and resonates with Taurus and Libra. Love, beauty, harmony, and sensuality flow through her. Her element is earth, grounding her energy in the physical and material world. When the Empress appears, it's time to honour what is growing within and around you, whether it's a relationship, a garden, or your own inner self. Nurture it with love, patience, and care. So ask yourself, where in your life are you ready to grow, to create, and to truly thrive? Now we meet the Emperor, card number 4 in the Major Arcana, the archetype of structure, authority, and stability. He sits tall upon a solid stone throne, adorned with ram heads, the symbol of Aries, bold, determined, and unyielding. Clad in red robes and armour, he represents a powerful mix of passion and protection. He holds a sceptre in one hand, an orb in the other, signs of dominion and worldly authority. Behind him rise barren mountains, reminders of endurance, strength, and the ability to withstand adversity. Upright, the Emperor offers guidance rooted in order, responsibility, and leadership. He calls you to take control of your life with confidence and discipline. If there's chaos, it's time to bring structure. If you've been passive, it's time to act with purpose and assert your authority. Reversed, the Emperor may reflect misuse of power, stubbornness, or inflexibility. Perhaps you're being overly controlling or resisting necessary change. It may also point to issues with authority figures or struggles around independence. Astrologically, the Emperor is linked to Aries and ruled by Mars, the planet of ambition, action, and drive. His element is fire, lending him a potent mix of energy, will, and determination. But unlike the untamed blaze of other fire cards, this fire is contained, directed, and steady. When the Emperor appears, it's a moment to ground yourself in responsibility, to lead with wisdom, and to uphold your own boundaries. He's a reminder that strength doesn't have to shout. True power often comes from calm, unwavering certainty. So ask yourself, where in your life could you bring more order, take the lead, or step into your authority with clarity and strength? Introducing the Hierophant, card number 5 in the Major Arcana, a spiritual teacher, a bridge between the divine and the earthly. He sits between two pillars, representing sacred law and tradition, wearing a triple crown that signifies his authority over mind, body, and spirit. In his left hand, he holds a scepter topped with a cross, a symbol of spiritual power. His right hand is raised in blessing. Below him, 2 followers kneel, representing devotion, learning, and the passing down of sacred knowledge. At his feet, 2 crossed keys, unlocking hidden truths, access to deeper wisdom. Upright, the Hierophant speaks of tradition, structure, and spiritual guidance. He encourages learning through established systems, religion, education, institutions. It's a call to seek wisdom from trusted mentors or time-honoured paths. Sometimes this card reflects marriage, commitment, or shared beliefs within a community. Reversed in the energy changes, it may point to rebellion, questioning authority, or the need to break away from conventional expectations. You might be exploring your own beliefs, or feeling confined by outdated systems or rigid thinking. Astrologically, the Hierophant is associated with Taurus, ruled by Venus, connecting him not just to structure, but to values, harmony, and grounded commitment. His element is earth, reminding us that spiritual truth can be found in the tangible and the real. When the Hierophant appears, it's often a moment to pause and ask, what do I believe in? Where can I find guidance that aligns with my values? And am I living in a way that reflects those principles? So whether you're embracing tradition or redefining it, the Hierophant reminds you that wisdom doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's whispered through sacred rituals and quiet truths passed down through time. Now we turn to the Lovers, card number 6 in the Major Arcana, a symbol of union, harmony, and meaningful choice. At the centre, a man and a woman stand beneath the angel Raphael, whose presence offers guidance, healing, and divine protection. Behind the woman grows the tree of knowledge, its fruit glowing and a serpent coiled around the trunk, echoing the story of Eve. and the wisdom gained through experience. Behind the man stands the tree of life, burning with 12 flames, representing the signs of the zodiac and the full scope of spiritual growth. A mountain rises between them, showing challenges to overcome through love, understanding, and shared truth. Upright, the lovers represents more than romantic connection. It speaks to alignment, unity, and relationships built on trust and open communication. This card can signal a deep bond, a heartfelt decision, or a moment where your values are being tested. At its heart lies choice, not simply between people, but between paths that reflect who you truly are. Reverse, the card may warn of misalignment, conflict, or difficult decisions. It can point to disharmony, lack of clarity, or a need to reconnect with your values before making a commitment. Astrologically, the Lovers is ruled by Gemini and influenced by Mercury, planet of communication, intellect, and decision-making. Its element is air, reminding us that clarity, honesty, and conscious choice are vital in matters of the heart. When the Lovers appears, it invites you to reflect on connection, choice, and integrity. Are you acting in alignment with your higher self? And are the decisions before you made with love and clarity? Because in the end, the path you choose shapes not just where you go, but who you become. Meet the Chariot, card number 7 in the Major Arcana, a symbol of victory through willpower, focus, and determined action. A warrior stands tall in his chariot, armoured in celestial symbols, guided not by reins, but by the sheer force of his will. Before him are 2 sphinxes, one black and one white. They represent opposing forces, inner conflict, duality, the tug between desire and discipline. Yet he remains in control, ready to charge forward, balanced and composed. Behind him, a city fades into the distance. He has left behind the familiar and set out on a bold course. Above his head, a starry canopy connects him to the heavens. Though grounded in battle, his mission has spiritual significance. Upright, the Chariot is a sign of triumph through determination. You may be facing a test, a challenge, or a crossroads, but success is within reach if you stay disciplined and keep your vision clear. It's about confidence, control, and knowing exactly where you're headed. Reversed, the Chariot may suggest a loss of direction, scattered focus, or external forces pulling you off course. You may feel overwhelmed or lacking the inner drive needed to move forward. Regain your focus and don't let emotions steer the wheel. Astrologically, the Chariot is ruled by Cancer, a sign of emotional strength and inner resolve. Though its shell is armour, its core is sensitive. This card reminds us that courage often comes from vulnerability and persistence. Its element is water, showing that mastery of emotion is just as vital as action. When the Chariot appears, it's a message. You have what it takes to succeed, but only if you align your will, focus your energy, and steer your life with purpose. So ask yourself, what are you fighting for? And are you fully in command of your journey? Let's step into the energy of the Strength card, number 8 in the Major Arcana, and a symbol of inner power, patience, and calm courage. At the centre of the card, a gentle figure dressed in white softly tames a lion with nothing but her touch. She doesn't force or fight, she soothes. The lion, often fierce and wild, bows to her calm presence. This is not brute strength, it's grace under pressure. Above her head floats the infinity symbol, just as it does in the Magician card. Here, it reminds us that true strength is limitless when it comes from within. The landscape is tranquil, almost timeless, reflecting a harmony that's not easily shaken. Upright, the Strength card calls for resilience, compassion, and the courage to face life with patience and steady resolve. It may appear when you're being tested, when emotions run high, or when fear threatens to take over. This card reminds you, true power is quiet. It's the ability to remain kind, to stay grounded, even when the world gets loud. Reversed, strength might suggest self-doubt, impatience, or a struggle to control raw emotion. Perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed or disconnected from your own resilience. It's a gentle call to return to yourself and remember that soft strength is still strength. Astrologically, the card is linked to Leo and ruled by the Sun, bringing themes of confidence, vitality, and heart-centered action. Its element is fire, but here the flame is steady, not wild. When strength appears, it's a reminder that you're capable of facing challenges without losing yourself. You don't need to roar to be powerful, so ask yourself, can you meet the moment with quiet courage? Can you tame the lion not with force, but with love? Now we encounter the Hermit, card number 9 in the Major Arcana, a symbol of solitude, wisdom, and inner truth. Standing alone on a mountain peak, the Hermit holds a lantern glowing with a 6-pointed star. This light isn't meant to illuminate the world around him, but to guide his next step, a gentle reminder that the path ahead is revealed only a little at a time. He leans on a staff, representing spiritual support and the strength that comes from within. The landscape is cold and barren, but that emptiness is deliberate. It creates space to hear the quiet voice of intuition, to strip back distraction and discover what truly matters. Upright, the Hermit calls you inward. It may be time to pause, to reflect, or to step away from the noise of everyday life. Whether it's meditation, solitude, or a break from social influence, this card invites you to search for clarity within yourself. Wisdom isn't always found outside. Sometimes it waits patiently in silence. Reverse, the Hermit can point to isolation taken too far, loneliness, or ignoring valuable insight from others. It may also suggest a refusal to slow down when reflection is most needed. Astrologically, the Hermit is linked to Virgo and ruled by Mercury. But here, communication is turned inward. It's not about speaking, but listening. Its element is earth, grounding its message in practicality, analysis, and meaningful introspection. When the Hermit appears, it often signals a turning point where insight comes not from action, but from stillness. It asks, what are you searching for, and are you willing to look inside to find it? So pause, breathe, light your lantern, and take that next quiet step forward. Next, we turn to the Wheel of Fortune, card number 10 in the Major Arcana, a powerful symbol of fate, cycles, and sudden change. At the centre spins a great golden wheel inscribed with mysterious letters, Tora, law, fate, or perhaps hidden knowledge. Around it are creatures from the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac: the angel, Aquarius, eagle, Scorpio, lion, Leo, and bull, Taurus. Each reads a book, showing that even in constant motion, there is wisdom to be found. Above the wheel sits a sphinx with a sword, guardian of riddles and truth. Below, a snake descends, and the Egyptian god Anubis rises, reminding us that what goes down must eventually rise again. Upright, the Wheel of Fortune speaks of change, destiny, and turning points. Life is shifting. For better or worse, the wheel is in motion. Sometimes it brings luck and opportunity, other times challenges. But either way, it reminds us nothing stays the same. Adaptability is your greatest strength now. Reverse, the card may signal resistance to change, a run of bad luck, or the feeling of being stuck in a pattern. You may not be in control, but you can choose how you respond. Even setbacks contain lessons. Astrologically, the wheel is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, fortune, and growth. Its energy is fiery and dynamic, ever urging you to evolve. Though connected to all signs through its cyclic nature, it's most tied to the fixed signs, showing the balance between change and stability. When the Wheel of Fortune appears, it's a sign that life is in motion. Destiny may be at play, but your choices still matter. So ask yourself, are you clinging to the past or ready to move with the rhythm of change? Now we arrive at the Justice card, number 11 in the Major Arcana, representing fairness, truth, and accountability. A figure sits upon a stone throne, poised between 2 grey pillars. In their right hand, they hold a double-edged sword, pointing upwards, a symbol of truth, clarity, and the power to cut through illusion. In the left hand, balanced scales weigh all actions with impartial judgment. They wear a red robe, signifying passion governed by reason, and a square crown representing mental clarity and moral responsibility. Upright justice brings a call for honesty and integrity. It reflects cause and effect, reminding you that your actions have consequences. If you're seeking resolution, this card suggests fairness will prevail, but only if you've acted with honour. It's a moment of reckoning, of decisions made with clear logic rather than emotion. Reversed, justice may indicate imbalance, dishonesty, or a refusal to take responsibility. It might point to an unfair outcome or to a situation where truth is being avoided. It also asks, are you being honest with yourself? True justice starts within. Astrologically, justice is ruled by Libra and the planet Venus, a combination of balanced values and the pursuit of harmony through truth. Its element is air, aligning it with clarity, analysis, and intellectual fairness. When justice appears, it's not just about right and wrong, it's about alignment, living in accordance with your truth, and being accountable for your decisions, no matter the outcome. So ask yourself, are you acting in a way that aligns with your values? Are you ready to take responsibility for your choices, knowing that true balance cannot be faked? Because in the end, justice doesn't just observe, it remembers, and it restores what's fair. Now we encounter the Hanged Man, card number 12 in the Major Arcana, a symbol of surrender, new perspective, and spiritual pause. Suspended upside down from a T-shaped tree, the figure hangs calmly by one foot. His expression is serene, not distressed. Around his head glows a radiant halo, symbolizing enlightenment, not in spite of the suspension, but because of it. His red leggings speak of grounded desire and life force, while his blue tunic represents knowledge, calm, and introspection. Upright, the Hanged Man invites you to let go of control, to stop struggling, and to see the world differently. It's a call for stillness, patience, and deep reflection. Sometimes the only way forward is to pause and look at things from a new angle. This card often appears when you're being asked to release expectations or resist the urge to push ahead. Reversed, the Hanged Man can suggest stagnation, delays, or an unwillingness to shift perspective. You may be clinging to old beliefs or resisting change. It's time to ask, what are you afraid to release? Astrologically, the Hanged Man is linked to Neptune and the sign of Pisces. Deeply spiritual, intuitive, and attuned to the unseen. Its element is water, highlighting themes of emotion, flow, and spiritual depth. When the Hanged Man appears, it's a quiet yet profound message. Growth often comes not through action, but through stillness. You may need to surrender to the unknown, trust the process, and allow transformation to unfold in its own time. So ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped trying to force it? What truth might emerge if you simply paused and allowed yourself to see things differently? Because sometimes the most powerful shift is not movement, it's a change in perspective. Now we face the Death card, number 13 in the Major Arcana. Don't be alarmed. This card isn't about physical death. It's about endings, transformation, and the space cleared for something new to emerge. A skeletal figure in black armor rides a white horse, steady and unstoppable. In his hand, a black flag bearing a white rose flutters, a symbol of purification and new beginnings. Around him, people from all walks of life bow or fall. None are exempt. Change comes for everyone. In the background, the sun rises between two towers, a sign that after every ending, a new day always begins. A river winds through the landscape, reflecting the flow of life and the inevitability of transitions. Upright, death signifies a profound transformation. It may be the end of a cycle, a mindset, a relationship, or an identity. Something has reached its natural conclusion. Though it may feel difficult, this ending clears space for growth, freedom, and personal rebirth. It is not a punishment, but a release. Reversed death can point to resistance. Perhaps you're clinging to the past, avoiding the truth, or fearing change. Holding on will only delay what must eventually unfold. Astrologically, death is ruled by Scorpio and Pluto, deep, intense, and unafraid of the shadows. Its element is water, carrying emotional transformation and the wisdom found through surrender. When death appears, it reminds you that nothing truly ends without something else beginning. Letting go isn't failure, it's evolution. So ask yourself, what are you ready to release? And what could flourish if you made peace with the end? Because the Death card is not an omen of loss, it's a doorway, and on the other side, a powerful new beginning. Now we arrive at Temperance, card number 14 in the Major Arcana, a symbol of balance, moderation, and divine flow. At the centre stands an angel, radiant and calm. One foot rests on land, the other dips gently into water, bridging the physical and emotional realms. The The angel pours water between two golden cups, an act of alchemy, blending opposites with perfect harmony. Behind, a path leads to a rising sun, a future shaped not by extremes, but by quiet, steady progress. The triangle within the angel's robe, enclosed in a square, speaks of spirit grounded in matter. Nothing is rushed here. Every movement is deliberate, fluid, and intentional. Upright, temperance brings a message of equilibrium. Now is the time for patience, restraint, and thoughtful choices. Whether you're navigating relationships, healing, or pursuing a goal, this card asks you to stay centered. Balance emotion with logic, ambition with rest. Blend, don't force. Temperance is the art of keeping just the right pace. Reverse, this card can suggest imbalance, overindulgence, or a lack of focus. You might be swinging between extremes or struggling to find your center. It's a nudge to realign, slow down, and restore harmony. Astrologically, Temperance is linked to Sagittarius and ruled by Jupiter, symbols of growth, higher understanding, and optimism. Its element is fire, but tempered, focused, and wise. When Temperance appears, it's a gentle but powerful reminder. Healing and progress often come not through dramatic action, but through grace, patience, and steady alignment. So ask yourself, where can you find more balance? What might shift if you chose the middle path? Because sometimes the most powerful transformation comes not from bold leaps, but from the quiet art of harmony. Now we face the devil, card number 15 in the Major Arcana, and one of the most misunderstood. This card doesn't symbolize evil itself, but rather the chains we forge from our own fears, desires, and illusions. A horned, winged figure sits on a black pedestal, watching over a man and woman who stand naked and chained. But look closer, the chains are loose. They could leave if they chose to. The devil doesn't imprison. He tempts, distracts, and entices. Above his head, an inverted pentagram points to the dominance of the material over the spiritual. Upright, the devil represents temptation, addiction, and entrapment. It speaks to the patterns that hold you back, whether it's a toxic relationship, destructive habits, or the lies you tell yourself. It's the shadow we all carry. And the moment we confront it, we begin to regain power. Reverse, the devil is a powerful sign of release, breaking free from harmful cycles, confronting fear, and reclaiming your autonomy. It can also signal denial, ignoring what needs to be addressed, or hiding from the truth. Astrologically, the devil is ruled by Capricorn and Saturn, symbols of limitation, structure, and the lessons we must learn the hard way. Its element is earth, grounding this card in the realm of physical urges, materialism, and survival instincts. When the devil appears, it's a mirror, not to shame or scare, but to ask, what are you giving your power to? And are you ready to take it back? Because the real prison is not outside of you. It's the one built from unacknowledged fear and forgotten freedom. And the key, it's always in your hand. Now we come to the Tower, card number 16 in the Major Arcana, striking and unforgettable. The Tower represents sudden upheaval, revelation, and the breaking apart of false foundations. A tall structure is hit by lightning, flames bursting from its windows. The crown at its peak is flung into the air. Two figures fall, cast out by the force of the blast. The sky is dark, the scene chaotic, but this destruction is not without purpose. Upright, the tower is a sign of dramatic change. Something is being torn down, a belief, a structure, a way of life. It may feel shocking, even painful, but this card brings necessary truth. What was built on illusion cannot last. The tower doesn't destroy at random. It clears space for what is real. Reversed, the card can signal resistance to change or fear of collapse. Perhaps the signs were there, but you've been trying to ignore them. The longer instability is left unaddressed, the more forcefully it tends to fall. It can also point to inner transformation, a quiet personal breakdown, or awakening not seen by others. Astrologically, the tower is ruled by Mars, planet of conflict, force, and action. Its energy is abrupt, fiery, and non-negotiable. Associated with Aries and Scorpio, this card demands honesty and courage. Its element is fire, but this fire burns to purify. When the tower appears, it's not just an ending, it's a wake-up call. The ground may shake, but what remains after will be truer, stronger, more aligned. So ask yourself, what are you clinging to that's already falling apart? What truth is waiting to set you free? Because sometimes, only through the breakdown do we discover what was worth building all along. After the storm of the tower comes the calm of the star, card number 17 in the Major Arcana, a symbol of hope, healing, and spiritual renewal. The star is a gentle light that guides you home to yourself. A nude woman kneels by a pool of water. One jug pours into the pool, nourishing the subconscious. The other flows onto the land, offering life to the material world. She is balanced, present, and unafraid. Her nudity speaks of authenticity, vulnerability, and inner strength. Above her shines one large central star, surrounded by 7 smaller ones, guiding light's divine presence and spiritual inspiration. In the background, a bird perches peacefully in a tree, reminding us that freedom and calm follow after chaos. Upright, the star brings a message of renewal. After difficulty, there is healing. After darkness, light returns. This card signals inspiration, inner clarity, and a reconnection with your purpose. It's a time to trust in yourself, in the future, and in the unseen forces working in your favour. Reversed, the star can reflect self-doubt, despair, or feeling lost. You may have forgotten your worth or your vision. This card gently encourages you to seek out light, even if it's just a flicker, and begin to believe in possibility again. Astrologically, the star is linked to Aquarius and ruled by Uranus, a sign of vision, originality, and collective healing. Its element is air, connecting it to clarity, breath, and higher thought. When the star appears, it's a breath of fresh air after a long struggle, a quiet but certain promise. You are on the path of healing, so ask yourself, what is your guiding light? And are you ready to follow it forward with openness and trust? Now we journey into the moon, card number 18. In the Major Arcana, a realm of mystery, illusion, and the subconscious mind, a glowing full moon hangs in a twilight sky, casting a silvery light over a dreamlike landscape. Below, a narrow path winds into the distance between 2 towers. A dog and a wolf stand on either side, howling, the tame and the wild, instinct and reason. From the water below, a crayfish slowly emerges, symbolizing the rise of hidden thoughts and feelings. Upright, the moon speaks of uncertainty, intuition, and things not being as they seem. It's a card of the in-between, of dreams, fears, and the unknown. You may feel confused or unable to see the full picture. This card invites you to trust your instincts, to move slowly and gently, and to honor what your subconscious is trying to tell you. Reversed, the moon can indicate illusions lifting, confusion clearing, or hidden truths coming to light. It may also warn against ignoring intuition or falling prey to fantasy and deception. What is real? What is imagined? The moon asks you to tread carefully. Astrologically, the moon card is linked to Pisces and ruled by Neptune. Energies of emotion, sensitivity, dreams, and spiritual depth. Its element is water, guiding us through feeling rather than logic. When the moon appears, it's a sign you're moving through a time of emotional depth, uncertainty, or inner exploration. Not everything will make sense, and that's all right. This card doesn't demand answers. It asks for awareness, patience, and trust in the journey. So ask yourself, what lies beneath the surface? What truth are you ready to uncover? Not through sight, but through intuition. Because sometimes the clearest guidance comes not in daylight, but in moonlight. Welcome the Sun, card number 19 in the Major Arcana, and one of the brightest, most joyful cards in the deck. It represents clarity, vitality, and radiant success. A glowing sun dominates the sky, shining with unwavering light. Below, a child rides freely on a white horse, arms open in pure joy. The red banner the child holds waves boldly, a sign of energy, victory, and celebration. Behind them, sunflowers bloom tall and strong, symbols of life, growth, and alignment with the light. Upright, the sun signals happiness, confidence, and a sense of achievement. Things are coming into full view now. Clarity replaces confusion, optimism returns, and your path is illuminated. This is a time of abundance, harmony, and feeling fully alive. The sun reminds you that joy is not just possible, it's your birthright. Reversed, the sun's energy may be blocked or delayed. There could be self-doubt, temporary setbacks, or hidden issues beneath an otherwise positive surface. But the core meaning remains hopeful. The light is still there, waiting to break through. Astrologically, the sun card is ruled by the sun itself and corresponds with Leo, bringing themes of self-expression, creativity, and heart-led confidence. Its element is fire, igniting inspiration, passion, and momentum. When the sun appears, it's a moment to shine, to move forward with confidence, to enjoy the present, and to trust in your own light. Whatever you've been working toward is now blossoming. So ask yourself, where is joy trying to enter your life? Are you letting it in? Because the sun doesn't just light the way, it invites you to thrive, to grow, and to live fully in your truth. Now we reach Judgement, card number 20 in the Major Arcana, and a powerful symbol of awakening, redemption, and transformation. An angel, Archangel Gabriel, blows a great trumpet from the sky. Below, people rise from their graves with arms outstretched, answering the call. Their expressions are open, not fearful, but accepting. They are ready to face what comes next. In the distance, mountains rise, marking the trials that have already been overcome, and the new spiritual heights that lie ahead. Upright, Judgement signals a moment of reflection and clarity. You are being called to account, not as punishment, but as a chance to grow. This card asks you to review your past with honesty, take responsibility, and move forward with purpose. It's about spiritual awakening, releasing guilt, and stepping into your higher calling. Reversed Judgement may indicate avoidance, fear of change, or hesitation in facing the truth. Perhaps you're holding on to shame or ignoring a clear sign from within. It's a gentle yet firm reminder. Until you look back honestly, you can't move forward fully. Astrologically, Judgement is ruled by Pluto and aligned with Scorpio, the sign of transformation, rebirth, and deep emotional truth. Its element is fire, representing purification, renewal, and the spark of new life. When Judgement appears, it's time to listen, not to the outside world, but to the deeper voice within. Something in your life is ready to be released, and something greater is waiting to begin. So ask yourself, what truth are you ready to face? What version of yourself are you being called to become? Because Judgement isn't an ending, it's a rebirth, and a powerful step into the future you were always meant to live. We've come to the end of the Major Arcana. Card number 21, the World, a symbol of completion, fulfillment, and cosmic harmony. At the center, a woman dances within a great laurel wreath, a sign of victory, wholeness, and the successful end of a journey. She holds two wands, one in each hand, representing balance and mastery. Her posture is free, flowing, and assured. She has become both student and teacher, seeker and guide. Surrounding her are four figures: a lion, a bull, an eagle, and an angel. These represent the four fixed signs of the zodiac: Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Together, they symbolize stability across the four corners of the universe and alignment with the elements of life: fire, earth, water, and air. Upright, the World, signifies achievement, integration, and the successful conclusion of a cycle. You've come full circle, wiser, stronger, and ready for what's next. It's a moment to celebrate how far you've come and recognize that what you've created or learned is now fully part of you. Reversed, this card can indicate delays, unfinished business, or a sense that something is nearly complete, but not quite resolved. It may also suggest a need to tie up loose ends before you can truly move on. Astrologically, the World is ruled by Saturn, planet of mastery, discipline, and long-term growth. Its element is earth, grounding its message in real-world accomplishment and enduring truth. When the World appears, it's a powerful sign that you've reached a major milestone. What once felt distant is now in your hands. So ask yourself, what have you completed? What are you now ready to begin? Because every ending in the tarot is also a threshold, and beyond this door lies the next great journey. Welcome to the Suit of Wands, the fire at the heart of the tarot. The wands represent the element of fire, and with it, all things connected to energy, passion, drive, and inspiration. This is the suit of ideas in motion, of bold intentions, creative spark, and the will to act. It's about ambition, vision, and the power that fuels our dreams. In everyday life, wands speak to our work, our passions, our goals, and how we take initiative. They reflect the ways we express ourselves and assert our energy in the world, whether through creativity, leadership, or courageous action. This suit often appears when you're being called to follow your instincts, take a leap, or reconnect with your personal power. The wands are associated with the element of fire, and astrologically, they correspond to the fire signs: Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. These signs bring qualities like enthusiasm, confidence, adventure, and a desire for purpose. In a reading, wand cards often signal fast movement, rising motivation, or a need to act decisively. But fire, though inspiring, can also be volatile. When wands show up in their reversed or challenging aspects, they may point to impatience, burnout, anger, or scattered energy. They remind us that passion needs direction, and that unchecked fire can burn rather than build. From the raw potential of the ace to the mastery of the king, the suit of wands tells a story of ambition, action, and the transformative power of purpose. Whether you're being called to lead, to create, or to boldly begin, the wands urge you to trust your inner flame. So ask yourself, what ignites your spirit? And what are you ready to pursue with fire in your heart? The Ace of Wands marks the very first spark, a symbol of pure potential, creative energy, and the call to begin. In the image, a hand emerges from a cloud, holding a blossoming wand. Leaves sprout from it, full of promise and life. In the distance, mountains rise beyond a flowing river, showing that the journey ahead will bring both challenge and growth. But right now, it's all about that first surge of inspiration. Upright, the Ace of Wands signals new beginnings, particularly in the realm of creativity, ambition, and passion. It's that moment when an idea lights up your mind, or when you feel the urge to act on something bold and exciting. Whether it's a new project, a personal goal, or a sense of renewed purpose, this card says, the energy is here, strike while it's hot. Reversed, the Ace of Wands may suggest delays, lack of motivation, or creative blockages. You might feel stuck, unsure where to start, or struggling to harness your energy. It's a reminder that potential alone isn't enough. It needs action, direction, and belief. Astrologically, the card aligns with the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, and is ruled by Mars. Its raw energy, drive, and the courage to take initiative. As with all aces, it represents a seed, something with great promise if nurtured and acted upon. When the Ace of Wands appears, it's an invitation to say yes to inspiration. Something new is trying to emerge. Are you ready to bring it to life? So ask yourself, what's calling to be created? What bold step are you ready to take? Because the Ace of Wands doesn't wait. It sparks, it moves, and it invites you to follow the fire. The Two of Wands is a card of vision, planning, and standing at the threshold of possibility. A figure in a red robe stands on a stone balcony, looking out over land and sea. In one hand, he holds a globe, a symbol of foresight, ambition, and awareness of the world beyond his current surroundings. One wand is firmly fixed behind him, representing stability in what is known. The other he holds, ready to act, representing choice, direction, and the power to shape what comes next. Upright, the Two of Wands speaks of decision-making and strategic planning. You've moved beyond the initial spark of the ace. Now you're considering how to bring your ideas into the world. It's a time of weighing options, exploring opportunities, and preparing for what lies ahead. There may be a desire to travel, to expand your reach, or to step into new territory. Reversed, the Two of Wands may indicate hesitation, fear of change, or a lack of direction. Perhaps you're struggling to commit to a path, or feeling limited by what's familiar. It's a gentle nudge to reassess your goals and clarify what truly drives you. Astrologically, this card is linked to Mars in Aries, a combination of bold action and pioneering energy, with a strong desire to break new ground. Its element is fire, highlighting courage, enthusiasm, and potential. When the Two of Wands appears, it's a moment to consider, where do you want to go and what do you need to get there? The world is in your hands, but action must follow intention. So ask yourself, are you ready to move beyond the comfort of the known? What vision are you prepared to bring to life? Because this card marks the turning point, where thought becomes plan and plan becomes power. The Three of Wands is a card of expansion, foresight, and watching your plans begin to unfold. A figure stands on a hilltop, gazing out over a vast landscape of sea, mountains, and open sky. He holds one wand, while two others stand planted firmly behind him. His posture is calm and assured. The work has begun. Upright, the Three of Wands marks progress. It reflects the early stages of success, the moment when something you've planned or committed to begins to show promise. It's a card of momentum, growth, and optimism about the future. This could relate to travel, business, creativity, or any path where vision is being put into action. You've stepped beyond the planning stage. Now it's about expanding your reach and trusting the process. Reverse, this card can point to delays, missed opportunities, or lack of foresight. Perhaps plans weren't fully formed, or external obstacles are slowing your progress. It's a reminder to stay patient, revisit your strategy, and remain open to new possibilities. Astrologically, the Three of Wands corresponds to the Sun in Aries, a confident, visionary energy that sees beyond the present and moves towards growth with purpose. Its element is fire, giving it drive, confidence, and forward motion. When the Three of Wands appears, it's a sign that things are beginning to move. Keep your eyes on the horizon, trust in your preparation, and be ready to seize what comes next. So ask yourself, what seeds have you planted? And are you ready to step into the broader world that they're beginning to shape? Because this card is about looking ahead, with faith, focus, and a heart set on the journey. The Four of Wands is a card of celebration, stability, and joyful milestones. In the image, two figures raise their arms in triumph beneath a floral canopy, supported by four wands. It's a scene of festivity and harmony. In the background, a castle stands strong, a symbol of security, home, and long-term success. This card radiates warmth, community, and shared happiness. Upright, the Four of Wands represents moments of joy and recognition. It may point to a wedding, a homecoming, a family gathering, or a successful completion of a major phase. It's about coming together with others to mark progress and achievement, honouring how far you've come. There's a sense of ease, of things falling into place, and of being supported and seen by those around you. Reversed, the card can suggest delays in celebrations, or a feeling of disharmony within home or community life. Perhaps you're not feeling as supported as you need to be, or there's tension in what should be a time of peace. It may also ask whether you're acknowledging your own successes enough. Even quiet victories deserve to be honoured. Astrologically, the Four of Wands is associated with Venus in Aries, combining the joy of connection with the boldness to take initiative. Its element is fire, but in this form it is warm, grounding, and life-affirming. When the Four of Wands appears, it's an invitation to pause and enjoy the moment. Stability has been earned and joy is meant to be shared. So ask yourself, what have you built that deserves celebrating? And are you allowing yourself to enjoy the fruits of your efforts? Because this card is a reminder that life isn't just about striving, it's about savouring the sweetness of where you've already arrived. The Five of Wands is a card of conflict, competition, and energetic tension. In the image, five figures clash with wooden wands. It's unclear whether they're fighting, training, or playing, but the scene is chaotic, disorganised, and full of friction. No one seems to be in control. There's movement, passion, and plenty of noise, but not much direction. Upright, the Five of Wands represents disagreements, rivalry, or competing priorities. You may be facing external conflict in a team, a relationship, or a social setting where everyone's trying to speak, but no one's truly listening. It can also point to internal struggles when your own goals and desires are pulling in different directions. While this card can feel frustrating, it's not inherently negative. Sometimes a bit of friction is necessary for growth or breakthrough. Reversed, the card may suggest that conflict is dying down or being avoided. It could be a sign of suppressed tension or passive resistance that needs to be addressed. Alternatively, it may point to inner resolution, finding clarity after confusion, or moving past needless competition. Astrologically, the Five of Wands is linked to Saturn in Leo, the tension between discipline and self-expression, between structure and ego. Its element is fire, so the energy is passionate and quick to rise. When the Five of Wands appears, it encourages you to consider how you're managing conflict. Are you fueling it or finding a way through it? Are you asserting your voice or just adding to the noise? So ask yourself, Is this a battle worth fighting, or is there a smarter way to channel your energy? Because sometimes clarity comes not through winning, but through stepping back, regrouping, and choosing a wiser path forward. The Six of Wands is a card of victory, recognition, and public achievement. A rider on a white horse moves through a cheering crowd, holding a wand adorned with a laurel wreath, a symbol of triumph and honour. The horse is calm, the rider confident, and the energy is clear. This is a moment of being seen, celebrated, and acknowledged for your efforts. Upright, the Six of Wands signals success, confidence, and well-earned recognition. It suggests that your hard work is paying off, and others are beginning to notice. This could come in the form of praise, awards, promotions, or simply a sense of personal pride. It's not just about the win, it's about being recognised for the journey it took to get there. Reversed, the card may indicate self-doubt, lack of recognition, or a need for validation. Perhaps you're questioning your success, or feeling like your efforts have gone unnoticed. It might also point to pride becoming arrogance, or focusing too much on how others perceive you. The message here is to ground your confidence in inner worth, not just outward praise. Astrologically, the Six of Wands is associated with Jupiter in Leo, a generous, bold energy that brings expansion, optimism, and the joy of public success. Its element is fire, highlighting motivation, visibility, and action. When the Six of Wands appears, it's time to take a moment to acknowledge how far you've come. Allow yourself to be proud, and let others celebrate with you. So ask yourself, are you allowing yourself to receive the recognition you deserve? And how can you use your success to uplift and inspire others? Because true victory is not just about being seen, it's about rising with integrity and sharing the light you've earned. The Seven of Wands is a card of defense, resilience, and standing your ground. A figure stands on uneven terrain, holding a wand with both hands as six others rise against him. His stance is firm, determined, and alert. Though the ground is shaky, he doesn't back down. He's not starting the fight, but he's prepared to hold his position, no matter what comes his way. Upright, the Seven of Wands represents challenge, opposition, and the need to defend your beliefs, position, or success. You may have already achieved something important, and now comes the test of whether you can hold on to it. This card speaks to confidence under pressure, courage in the face of criticism, and the strength to stay true to yourself, even when it's difficult. Reversed, this card may suggest feeling overwhelmed, underprepared, or unsure of your footing. You might be doubting your ability to keep up the fight, or letting others shake your confidence. It could also indicate a refusal to defend yourself when it's truly needed, a reminder to assert your worth without aggression. Astrologically, the Seven of Wands is linked to Mars in Leo, bold, fiery energy that fights not for attention, but for honour, principle, and authenticity. The element is fire, bringing passion and intensity to whatever you're facing. When the Seven of Wands appears, it's a call to stand tall. Opposition may come, but you've already climbed part of the mountain. Now is not the time to retreat. So ask yourself, what matters enough to defend? And how can you meet resistance with both strength and integrity? Because this card reminds you, courage isn't the absence of challenge, it's the choice to rise in the face of it. The Eight of Wands is a card of swift movement, progress, and unstoppable momentum. In the image, 8 wands fly diagonally across a clear blue sky, with no figures in sight. They are in motion, fast, focused, and headed toward their destination. Below them, a peaceful landscape reminds us that the movement isn't chaotic, it's purposeful. Upright, the Eight of Wands signals acceleration. Things are picking up speed, delays are ending, and progress is flowing freely. Whether it's a project moving forward, a message arriving, or energy being released, this card suggests that events are unfolding rapidly. It's a time to stay alert, flexible, and ready to act, because opportunities may appear suddenly, and you won't want to miss them. Reversed, the energy may be scattered, rushed, or blocked. Perhaps there's miscommunication, poor timing, or something moving too fast for comfort. It could also point to impatience, wanting results without laying the proper groundwork. The message is to slow down, regain clarity, and trust the process. Astrologically, the Eight of Wands is linked to Mercury in Sagittarius, a pairing of quick thinking, expansive ideas, and direct communication. The element is fire, adding energy, enthusiasm, and urgency to whatever is unfolding. When the Eight of Wands appears, it's a green light. Momentum is on your side, and things are aligning more quickly than expected. The key is to ride the wave without losing your focus. So ask yourself, what's moving quickly in your life right now? Are you ready to respond with clarity and intention? Because this card reminds you, when movement comes, it's a gift. The only question is, will you move with it? The Nine of Wands is a card of resilience, perseverance, and standing strong through challenge. In the image, a wounded figure grips a wand, glancing over their shoulder with cautious determination. 8 other wands stand behind them, like a barrier or a reminder of battles already fought. Though tired and bruised, this person has not given up. They are prepared for whatever comes next. Upright, the Nine of Wands speaks to endurance. You've been through struggles, perhaps even setbacks, but you've kept going. This card often appears when you're near the finish line, though you may be feeling worn down or wary of more obstacles. It encourages you to keep pushing forward. You're stronger than you realise, and the final challenge is often the hardest before success arrives. Reverse, the card can suggest exhaustion, paranoia, or defensiveness. You may be expecting the worst, guarding yourself so tightly that you're unable to move forward. It might be time to rest, heal, and assess whether your defences are still serving you, or if they're holding you back. Astrologically, the Nine of Wands is linked to the moon in Sagittarius, a combination of emotional sensitivity and determined spirit. There's a deep desire to complete a journey, despite emotional uncertainty or fatigue. Its element is fire, keeping the spirit of action and passion alive even through hardship. When the Nine of Wands appears, it reminds you that this is not the time to quit. You've already come so far, and your strength has been hard won. So ask yourself, what are you protecting? And do you believe in your ability to finish what you've started? Because this card is the warrior's pause, a breath before the final push. The end is near. Hold your ground. The Ten of Wands is a card of burden, responsibility, and the weight of achievement. A lone figure trudges forward, carrying a heavy bundle of 10 wands. Their posture is bent, their vision obscured by the load. They are close to a village, a destination in sight, but the journey is slow and laboured. This image speaks of carrying too much, often alone. Upright, the Ten of Wands reflects overwhelm. You may have taken on more than you can comfortably handle, perhaps out of duty, ambition, or necessity. It often shows up when success has been achieved, but at a cost. The excitement of progress has given way to pressure, and you're being asked to examine what you're carrying and whether it's truly yours to bear. Reversed, this card may suggest burnout, avoidance of responsibility, or a refusal to ask for help. It can also indicate that a burden is finally being lifted, or that you're learning to set better boundaries. The lesson here is to release what's no longer serving you, and to share the load when needed. Astrologically, the Ten of Wands is associated with Saturn in Sagittarius, the tension between limitation and expansion. There's a deep desire to achieve something meaningful, but it must be managed wisely. The element is fire, showing that your energy is still strong, but in need of redirection. When the Ten of Wands appears, it asks you to pause and reflect. What are you carrying and why? Are you holding on to duties out of fear, pride, or habit? Because this card reminds you, even the strongest cannot carry everything alone. You've proven your strength. Now it's time to lighten the load and move forward with clarity and care. The Page of Wands is a messenger of inspiration, curiosity, and bold beginnings. A young figure stands in the desert, holding a wand upright with both hands. They gaze at it with wonder, as if it's a spark of something new and exciting. The barren land around them suggests untapped potential, a blank canvas waiting for adventure. Though they stand still, everything about this card feels ready to move. Upright, the Page of Wands symbolises fresh energy, enthusiasm, and the early stages of a new journey. This could be a creative project, a personal goal, or a call to explore something unfamiliar. There's passion, but it's untested. This page is the spark, not yet the flame. It encourages you to embrace your ideas, take that first step, and learn through experience. Reversed, the Page of Wands may reflect hesitation, immaturity, or fear of the unknown. You might be second-guessing yourself or struggling to turn inspiration into action. It can also point to scattered energy, chasing excitement without direction. The message is to ground your enthusiasm and be open to learning. Astrologically, the Page of Wands resonates with fire signs. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, especially in their youthful, energetic expressions. It's about discovery, exploration, and the willingness to try without needing perfection. The element is, of course, fire, vibrant, expressive, and always moving. When the Page of Wands appears, it's a sign to say yes to curiosity. There may be uncertainty, but there's also excitement. Trust the spark and follow where it leads. So ask yourself, what's calling you to explore? Are you willing to take the first step, even if you don't know exactly where it will lead? Because this card says, the journey begins now, and it's yours to shape. The Knight of Wands is a bold, fiery force, full of drive, ambition, and fearless momentum. Armoured and mounted on a rearing horse, the knight holds his wand high like a torch. His helmet and cloak are adorned with flames and feathers, symbols of passion, confidence, and a desire to stand out. The desert landscape blurs behind him. This is a figure in motion, charging ahead without hesitation. Upright, the Knight of Wands signals action, excitement, and a powerful burst of energy. You may feel inspired to take on a new challenge, launch a project, or pursue something that ignites your spirit. This card is courageous and daring, but not always cautious. It encourages bold moves, but reminds you to keep your focus clear. Reversed, the knight's energy may become impulsive, reckless, or unfocused. You might be rushing into things without a plan, losing steam just as quickly as you gained it. There could be frustration, delays, or overconfidence. The message here is to channel your energy wisely. Passion without direction can easily burn out. Astrologically, the Knight of Wands is linked to the fire signs, particularly Sagittarius, blending the desire for movement and meaning with a thirst for freedom and adventure. Its element is fire, pushing you toward action, risk, and self-expression. When the Knight of Wands appears, it's time to move, but with awareness. You're being fueled by passion, but be sure you're not charging ahead blindly. So ask yourself, what are you pursuing right now, and is your energy aligned with your true aim? Because this card says go, but take your inner fire with purpose, not just speed. The Queen of Wands is the embodiment of confidence, charisma, and creative power. Seated on a golden throne adorned with sunflowers and lions, the Queen holds a blossoming wand in one hand, a symbol of growth, passion, and life force. At her feet sits a black cat, hinting at her connection to intuition, independence, and just a touch of mystery. She radiates warmth, but she's no stranger to strength. Upright, the Queen of Wands represents self-assurance, leadership, and magnetic energy. She's bold without being brash, grounded yet full of fire. When this card appears, it's a sign that you're stepping into your power or being called to. It's time to express yourself fully, pursue what lights you up, and take up space without apology. This Queen leads by example and inspires others through her presence and authenticity. Reversed, the Queen's energy can become scattered, overly forceful, or hidden. You may be doubting yourself, dimming your light to please others, or struggling to balance ambition with patience. It can also warn against using charm to manipulate or pushing too hard to stay in control. The lesson here is to lead with integrity and confidence, not performance. Astrologically, the Queen of Wands is linked to the fire signs, particularly bringing courage, presence, and a love of life. Her element is fire, shining with passion, creativity, and a can-do spirit. When the Queen of Wands appears, it's an invitation to stand tall in your truth, trust your instincts, own your gifts, and be bold enough to go after what you want. So ask yourself, where in your life can you show up more fully, more confidently? Because this card reminds you, the world doesn't need a quieter version of you. It needs your fire, unfiltered. The King of Wands is a master of vision, leadership, and inspired action. Seated on a throne decorated with lions and salamanders, symbols of strength and transformation, he holds a flowering wand, upright and ready. His gaze is fixed ahead, calm yet powerful, as if surveying the horizon. This is someone who doesn't just dream. He acts, leads, and ignites change. Upright, the King of Wands represents confident leadership, bold decisions, and visionary thinking. He's someone who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to go after it, not recklessly, but with clarity and purpose. When this card appears, it may represent you stepping into a leadership role, owning your authority, or being guided by someone with strength, experience, and charisma. This king leads not through force, but through inspiration. He motivates others by living authentically and fearlessly. He's dynamic, entrepreneurial, and future-focused. This card encourages you to trust in your direction, take the reins, and be the one to set things in motion. Reversed, the King of Wands can become controlling, impatient, or overly dominant. It may suggest misuse of power, arrogance, or acting before thinking. Alternatively, it could reflect hesitancy to lead, self-doubt, or a need to reconnect with your long-term vision. Astrologically, the King of Wands is linked to the fire signs, especially Leo, bold, passionate, creative, and a natural figure of authority. His element is fire in its most mature and steady form, powerful but well-directed. When the King of Wands appears, it's a call to lead with courage, clarity, and purpose. Others may look to you now, so lead with heart. So ask yourself, are you owning your vision or waiting for permission? Because this card reminds you, real leadership begins when you believe in your own fire. Welcome to the Suit of Cups, the emotional current of the tarot. The cups represent the element of water, and with it, the world of emotions, relationships, love, intuition, and the subconscious. This suit flows through the heart rather than the mind, guiding us through connection, vulnerability, imagination, and the tides of inner experience. In everyday life, cups appear when we're exploring matters of the heart: romance, friendship, compassion, grief, joy, and emotional healing. They speak to how we relate to others, how we nurture ourselves, and how we allow or resist the flow of feeling. When a reading is full of cups, it suggests that the emotional landscape is at the center of your story. The suit is aligned with the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, each bringing sensitivity, depth, and the ability to feel beneath the surface. When working with cups, it's less about action and more about presence, empathy, and emotional honesty. At their best, the cups speak of love, connection, creativity, and spiritual depth. But in their shadow, they can reveal emotional overwhelm, avoidance, dependency, or illusion. Just like water, emotions can nourish and cleanse, but when blocked or ignored, they can flood or stagnate. From the gentle offering of the Ace to the emotional maturity of the King, the Suit of Cups traces a journey through the heart, from first feeling to deep emotional mastery. It asks you not just to think or do, but to feel. So ask yourself, what emotions are asking to be acknowledged? What relationships need nurturing or release? Because the cups don't speak in facts, they speak in feelings. And when you learn to listen, they'll guide you to a deeper understanding of yourself and those around you. The Ace of Cups is a symbol of emotional renewal, spiritual awakening, and the overflowing abundance of the heart. In the image, a divine hand emerges from a cloud, offering a golden cup. Water pours out in 5 streams, representing the flow of emotion, intuition, and love into every area of life. Below, a calm pool is scattered with lotus blossoms, signs of purity, healing, and spiritual growth. Above the cup, a dove descends with a host wafer, adding a sense of peace and divine connection. Upright, the Ace of Cups represents new beginnings in the realm of the heart. This could be the start of a relationship, the deepening of emotional bonds, or a moment of profound healing and self-love. It also speaks to spiritual openness, being ready to receive love, inspiration, and grace. When this card appears, it's an invitation to open your heart fully and let the energy of love flow freely. Reversed, the card may suggest emotional blockage, unexpressed feelings, or self-protection. Perhaps you're holding back or not trusting yourself to be vulnerable. It may also reflect a time when love is present, but not yet recognized or accepted. The message is to reconnect with your emotional truth and allow yourself to feel again. Astrologically, the Ace of Cups resonates with the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, offering sensitivity, depth, and intuitive awareness. Its element is water, symbolizing emotion, connection, and the subconscious. When the Ace of Cups appears, it's a blessing, a reminder that love and healing are available, often when you least expect it. So ask yourself, Are you ready to receive? What would happen if you let your heart lead? Because this card marks the beginning of emotional wholeness, and all you need to do is say yes. The Two of Cups is a card of connection, mutual respect, and heartfelt unity. In the image, two figures face one another, each holding a cup. They are in balance, equals in offering and reception. Above them floats a caduceus, symbolizing healing and harmony, with a lion's head crowning the image, representing passion and strength. This isn't just about attraction, it's about a bond built on emotional truth and shared intention. Upright, the Two of Cups signals a deepening of emotional connection. This might be the start of a romantic relationship, a close friendship, a powerful partnership, or even reconciliation after distance. It's a card of emotional exchange, where both people are open, willing, and equally invested. There is respect, trust, and an honest desire to meet one another with care. Reversed, the energy may feel imbalanced. There could be misunderstanding, lack of reciprocity, or emotional tension in a connection. It may suggest that one person is giving more than the other, or that trust needs to be rebuilt. Alternatively, it can also call for self-union, bringing harmony within before seeking it in others. Astrologically, the Two of Cups is linked to Venus in Cancer, an energy that combines love, intimacy, and emotional safety. Its element is water, offering depth, empathy, and intuitive understanding. When the Two of Cups appears, it's a moment to honor connection, whether with another person or within yourself. It reminds you that love isn't always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it's found in mutual understanding, gentle support, and emotional presence. So ask yourself, where is connection trying to grow in your life? And are you ready to meet it with openness? Because this card reminds you, the most powerful relationships are those built on shared truth, mutual care, and emotional equality. The Three of Cups is a card of joy, friendship, and shared celebration. In the image, three women raise their cups high in the air, dancing in a circle of unity and joy. They stand surrounded by fruits and flowers, symbols of abundance, connection, and harvest. This is a moment of coming together, of honouring community, and celebrating the bonds that nourish us. Upright, the Three of Cups represents celebration with others, joyful gatherings, support from friends, and emotional uplift through shared experiences. It may point to a reunion, a social event, or simply the comfort of knowing you're not alone. It's a reminder to appreciate the people who bring light into your life, whether through laughter, support, or creative collaboration. Reverse, this card may suggest overindulgence, gossip, or emotional imbalance within a group. Perhaps someone is feeling left out, or a social situation isn't as harmonious as it seems. It could also be a gentle nudge to reflect on whether your current relationships are supportive and healthy, or simply habitual. Astrologically, the Three of Cups is linked to Mercury in Cancer, open-hearted communication, emotional intelligence, and joyful connection. The element is water, emphasizing emotional exchange, depth, and celebration from the heart. When the Three of Cups appears, it's an invitation to connect, share, and celebrate, not alone, but with those who make the journey brighter. Whether it's a big occasion or a quiet gathering, this card encourages you to value the people who lift your spirit. So ask yourself, who brings joy into your life? And how can you honour that connection today? Because this card reminds you, some of the most meaningful moments aren't about achievement, but about shared joy, gratitude, and the simple power of togetherness. The Four of Cups is a card of introspection, emotional pause, and reconsidering what truly matters. In the image, a figure sits beneath a tree, arms crossed, eyes cast downward. Three cups rest before them, but their gaze avoids them. A fourth cup is being offered by a hand from a cloud, a new opportunity. Yet the figure seems unaware or uninterested. It's a moment of emotional withdrawal, perhaps even dissatisfaction. Upright, the Four of Cups often signals a need to turn inward. You may be feeling disconnected, discontent, or emotionally flat. What once brought joy may now feel stale, or you're unsure what will truly fulfill you next. This card asks you to take a pause, not to escape, but to reflect deeply. Something is being offered, perhaps quietly or unexpectedly, and it's important not to miss it by turning away too soon. Reverse, this card may show a return to openness, finally seeing what's been in front of you all along. Alternatively, it could reflect emotional stagnation, apathy, or a refusal to engage with the present. It's a sign to examine whether you're shutting yourself off from life due to past disappointments or unspoken expectations. Astrologically, the Four of Cups is linked to the moon in Cancer, deep emotions, fluctuating moods, and the pull between security and longing. Its element is water, connected to feeling, intuition, and emotional renewal. When the Four of Cups appears, it's a reminder that solitude can be healing, but don't let it become isolation. Reflection is useful, but don't close your heart entirely. So ask yourself, what are you overlooking? And is it time to look up and see what life is quietly offering? Because sometimes the gift you need most is already on its way, if you're willing to receive it. The Five of Cups is a card of loss, disappointment, and emotional processing. In the image, a cloaked figure stands with head bowed, facing 3 spilled cups on the ground. Their focus is fixed on what's been lost. Behind them, 2 upright cups remain, full, unbroken, and unnoticed. In the background flows a river, and a bridge leads to a distant structure, hinting that the way forward still exists, even if it feels far away. Upright, the Five of Cups reflects grief, regret, or sorrow over something that hasn't gone as hoped. Whether it's the end of a relationship, a missed opportunity, or an emotional letdown, this card honours the very real pain of loss. However, it also carries a quiet truth. Not all is lost. The remaining cups in the bridge symbolise hope, healing, and what still stands waiting to be reclaimed. Reversed, the card often marks the beginning of emotional recovery. You may be starting to let go of what once held you in sadness, or recognising the blessings that remain. On the other hand, it can also point to difficulty moving on, or clinging to the past longer than is helpful. It's a call to feel, but not remain frozen in grief. Astrologically, the Five of Cups is tied to Mars in Scorpio, intense emotional energy, deep transformation, and the courage to face inner pain. Its element is water, connecting it to emotion, memory, and healing through release. When the Five of Cups appears, it reminds you that grief is part of life, but so is healing. Look gently at what you've lost, but don't forget to notice what remains. So ask yourself, are you ready to cross the bridge from mourning to meaning? Because while sorrow is real, so too is the path to renewal. The Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia, innocence, and emotional roots. In the image, a child offers a cup filled with flowers to another. Around them are 5 more cups, also blooming. The scene is peaceful, soft, and safe, set in a quiet village, with a large building behind them suggesting home or the past. This card evokes memory, comfort, and the gentle feelings tied to earlier times. Upright, the Six of Cups often points to the past, childhood memories, old friendships, family ties, or a time when life felt simpler. It may signify a reunion, a reconnection, or even a healing moment linked to where you've come from. Sometimes it's about giving or receiving kindness without expectation, simply for the joy of sharing. This card also invites you to approach your current life with more warmth, playfulness, or openness. Reversed, the card can suggest being stuck in the past, overly idealizing it, or using nostalgia as a way to avoid the present. It might be time to release what was and focus on what is. Alternatively, it could point to unresolved emotions or childhood wounds needing gentle attention. Astrologically, the Six of Cups is linked to the Sun in Scorpio, a sign of emotional depth, memory, and transformation through emotional honesty. Its element is water, bringing intuition, feeling, and emotional reflection to the surface. When the Six of Cups appears, it encourages you to reflect with compassion. Honour your past, but don't lose yourself in it. So ask yourself, what emotional memories are shaping your present? And are they helping you grow or holding you still? Because this card reminds you that while the past shapes us, it doesn't define us. There is beauty in remembering, but life is still unfolding now. The Seven of Cups is a card of choices, illusions, and the power of imagination. In the image, a silhouetted figure stands before 7 floating cups, each containing something different: a castle, a snake, jewels, a laurel wreath, a dragon, a veiled figure, and a head. Some appear tempting, others dangerous. The sky is grey, misty, and dreamlike, suggesting that not everything here is what it seems. Upright, the Seven of Cups represents a time of possibilities, dreams, or complex decisions. You may be faced with many options, desires, or ideas, but clarity is lacking. It's easy to be overwhelmed or to chase fantasies that have no substance. This card encourages you to pause and consider what's real and what's simply wishful thinking. Use discernment and intuition to choose wisely. Reversed, this card may show clarity emerging after confusion or a narrowing of focus. Alternatively, it can reflect illusion, deception, or living in denial. Perhaps it's time to get grounded and make practical choices, rather than losing yourself in idealism or avoidance. Astrologically, the Seven of Cups is linked to Venus in Scorpio, a combination of deep desire, strong emotion, and potential for both enchantment and entrapment. Its element is water, which connects it to intuition, dreams, and emotional depth, but also the risk of drowning in indecision or fantasy. When the Seven of Cups appears, it's a moment to check in with your truth. Not everything that glitters is gold, and not every path will lead to where you truly want to be. So ask yourself, what do you really want? And what are you escaping from? Because this card reminds you, vision is powerful, but without clarity and action, dreams remain just clouds in the sky. The Eight of Cups is a card of emotional departure, quiet strength, and seeking deeper fulfillment. In the image, a cloaked figure walks away from a neatly stacked arrangement of 8 cups. They leave under the light of a full moon, heading toward mountains and unknown paths. The cups remain standing. Nothing is broken, but something is missing. This is a conscious decision to step away from what no longer satisfies the soul. Upright, the Eight of Cups speaks to leaving something behind, a relationship, lifestyle, or situation. Not out of anger, but out of inner necessity. There's often no drama, just the quiet realization that something once fulfilling no longer is. This card invites you to trust your emotional truth and honor the call to move on in search of something more meaningful. Reversed, the card may indicate resistance to walking away, fear of change, or staying in a situation out of habit or guilt. It might also suggest returning to something previously left behind, seeking closure or rediscovery. Either way, it calls for honest self-inquiry. Are you staying because it feels right, or simply because it's familiar? Astrologically, the Eight of Cups corresponds to Saturn in Pisces, a blend of emotional depth and soul-searching, combined with a need for growth and boundaries. Its element is water, drawing attention to emotional honesty, intuition, and spiritual longing. When the Eight of Cups appears, it's a reminder that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away, not in defeat, but in hope. So ask yourself, what have you outgrown? And are you willing to leave the known in order to find the meaningful? Because this card marks a turning point, where courage lies not in holding on, but in seeking what your heart truly needs. The Nine of Cups is a card of satisfaction, emotional contentment, and wishes fulfilled. In the image, a figure sits confidently before a curved display of 9 golden cups, arms folded and a slight smile on their face. They look pleased, grounded, and entirely at ease. The cups behind them are not being grasped at. They're already theirs. This is a moment of enjoying what's been earned. Upright, the Nine of Cups is often known as the wish card. It signifies emotional fulfillment, pleasure, and achieving something you've hoped for, whether it's personal success, a rewarding relationship, or simply a sense of inner peace. This card suggests that you're in a space where you can enjoy life's pleasures and feel proud of what you've created. It's a moment of self-contentment, not loud or flashy, just quietly satisfying. Reversed, the card may suggest overindulgence, superficial satisfaction, or chasing pleasure without deeper meaning. You might be getting what you want, but still feeling empty, a sign to consider whether your goals truly align with your values. Alternatively, it can indicate a blocked wish or emotional dissatisfaction, even if everything appears fine on the surface. Astrologically, the Nine of Cups is linked to Jupiter in Pisces, generous, emotionally rich energy that blends spiritual joy with material ease. The element is water, focusing on feelings, personal fulfillment, and inner harmony. When the Nine of Cups appears, it invites you to pause and savor where you are. Enjoy what you've built. Celebrate the little victories, the contentment in your own skin, and the dreams you've turned into reality. So ask yourself, are you allowing yourself to feel joy? And what does true satisfaction look like for you? Because this card reminds you, happiness isn't out there, it begins within. The Ten of Cups is a card of lasting happiness, emotional harmony, and deep fulfillment. In the image, a couple stands arm in arm, gazing at a rainbow of 10 cups arched across the sky. 2 children dance nearby, and a house sits peacefully in the background. This scene radiates joy, love, and emotional security, the kind that comes not just from fleeting pleasure, but from a life lived with heart and alignment. Upright, the Ten of Cups signifies emotional completion. It speaks to strong relationships, family bonds, spiritual alignment, and a sense of peace that runs deeper than material success, whether it's found in a loving partnership, a chosen family, or inner harmony. This card represents a state of wholeness, where the heart feels safe, open, and full. Reversed, the card may suggest disharmony, misaligned values, or a gap between expectation and reality. Perhaps the vision of happiness you're chasing doesn't quite match your truth, or emotional connection is being strained. It's a reminder to reassess what true joy looks like, and whether you're building it from a place of authenticity. Astrologically, the Ten of Cups corresponds with Mars in Pisces, the drive to find emotional meaning and spiritual connection, to act from compassion and imagination. Its element is water, bringing emotional depth, intuition, and a sense of flowing fulfillment. When the Ten of Cups appears, it's a blessing, a sign that joy, love, and contentment are either present or within reach. Not perfect happiness, but genuine heart-rooted peace. So ask yourself, what does emotional fulfillment mean to you? And are you nurturing the connections that make life truly rich? Because this card reminds you, the deepest happiness is shared, real, and rooted in love. The Page of Cups is a card of emotional openness, creative curiosity, and unexpected messages from the heart. In the image, a young figure stands by the sea, holding a golden cup from which a fish unexpectedly peeks out. The page doesn't appear startled. Rather, they seem intrigued, curious, and gently amused. This image captures the spirit of youthful wonder, emotional sensitivity, and the kind of intuition that speaks softly but meaningfully. Upright, the Page of Cups symbolizes new emotional beginnings, the early stages of love, friendship, or self-discovery. It can also signal a message or invitation that stirs the heart, or a moment when your intuition gently taps you on the shoulder. This card encourages you to stay open, creative, and receptive. There's magic in vulnerability, and wisdom in listening to what your feelings are trying to tell you. Reversed, the Page of Cups may suggest emotional immaturity, insecurity, or creative blocks. You may be avoiding your feelings, doubting your worth, or struggle to trust your inner voice. Alternatively, it could signal someone around you who is emotionally inconsistent or not yet ready to meet you at the depth you desire. Astrologically, the Page of Cups resonates with water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, especially in their tender, imaginative, and emotionally exploratory aspects. Its element is water, highlighting intuition, sensitivity, and the realm of dreams and emotion. When the Page of Cups appears, it invites you to meet life with a softer heart. There's beauty in being open, even if you don't have all the answers. So ask yourself, are you willing to listen to your intuition, even if it whispers? What might happen if you let your heart lead, just for a moment? Because this card reminds you, emotional insight often begins as a gentle ripple, not a wave. The Knight of Cups is a card of romance, charm, and heartfelt pursuit. In the image, a knight in shining armor rides a white horse through calm terrain. He holds a cup carefully in front of him, not as a weapon, but as an offering. Unlike other knights, his horse walks gently. This is not a charge, but a quest led by feeling, not force. Upright, the Knight of Cups symbolizes a message, opportunity, or person led by emotion, creativity, or romance. It may represent someone entering your life with an offer of love, connection, or artistic inspiration. It can also point to your own desire to follow your heart, to move towards something that stirs the soul. This card invites you to pursue dreams with grace and to honor the role of emotion in decision-making. Reversed, the Knight's energy may become moody, unreliable, or overly idealistic. It can suggest unrealistic expectations in love, emotional inconsistency, or a tendency to avoid hard truths in favor of fantasy. You might be chasing a dream that lacks substance or struggle to stay grounded during emotional tides. Astrologically, the Knight of Cups is linked to Pisces energy, intuitive, romantic, gentle, and sometimes elusive. The element is water, reinforcing a focus on emotion, sensitivity, imagination, and connection. When the Knight of Cups appears, it's an invitation to listen to your heart and move with emotional intelligence. Whether you're offering something to another or responding to an invitation, do so with sincerity and care. So ask yourself, what is your heart asking you to pursue? And are you willing to follow it, even if the path ahead is uncertain? Because this card reminds you, not all quests are driven by logic. Some are led by love, intuition, and the quiet courage to feel deeply. The Queen of Cups is a symbol of emotional wisdom, deep compassion, and intuitive power. Seated on a throne by the sea, the Queen gazes softly at a beautifully adorned cup, one with a closed lid, symbolizing the sacredness and mystery of the emotions she holds. Her surroundings are calm yet powerful, a reflection of her inner depth. She doesn't force emotion, she understands it, honors it, and holds space for it. Upright, the Queen of Cups represents emotional intelligence, empathy, and nurturing presence. She may signify someone in your life, or an aspect of yourself, who is caring, emotionally attuned, and highly intuitive. This card encourages you to listen deeply, trust your gut, and respond to life with compassion. It's a reminder that sensitivity is not weakness. It is strength guided by insight and grace. Reversed, the Queen's energy can become overly emotional, withdrawn, or codependent. You may be neglecting your own needs while trying to care for others, or struggling to set healthy emotional boundaries. Alternatively, you could be suppressing your feelings or doubting your intuitive voice. The message is to come back to emotional balance and self-care. Astrologically, the Queen of Cups is closely associated with Cancer, a nurturing, intuitive, and emotionally rich sign. Her element is water, connecting her to feelings, healing, dreams, and the unconscious. When the Queen of Cups appears, it invites you to embody emotional maturity. Lead with kindness, but don't lose yourself in the emotions of others. Be open, but stay grounded. So ask yourself, are you listening to your inner voice? And are you caring for yourself as deeply as you care for others? Because this card reminds you, true emotional strength comes from knowing yourself and loving wisely, not endlessly. The King of Cups is a figure of emotional mastery, calm authority, and compassionate leadership. He sits on a stone throne surrounded by a restless sea, with waves rising and a ship and fish in motion behind him. Yet he remains composed, holding a cup in one hand and a scepter in the other. His power lies not in suppressing emotion, but in understanding and guiding it with wisdom and grace. Upright, the King of Cups symbolizes emotional balance, maturity, and the ability to remain steady during emotional currents. He represents someone, perhaps yourself or another, who leads with heart as well as intellect. Kind, diplomatic, and deeply intuitive, this king supports others without being overwhelmed by their struggles. When he appears, it's a call to lead from emotional strength, to show empathy while maintaining boundaries. Reversed, the king's energy can become emotionally distant, manipulative, or overly controlled. It may suggest that emotions are being hidden or used in unhealthy ways. There could be a tendency to avoid vulnerability, or to feel emotionally overwhelmed while trying to appear composed. The message here is to reconnect with emotional honesty and self-awareness. Astrologically, the King of Cups is linked to the water signs, especially Pisces, bringing sensitivity, insight, and a strong inner world. His element is water, refined and mature, able to support and sustain rather than sweep away. When the King of Cups appears, he invites you to lead with emotional wisdom, stay centered, listen deeply, and act with compassion, especially when others are struggling. So ask yourself, are you navigating your emotions wisely? And are you offering support from a place of inner strength, not emotional sacrifice? Because this card reminds you, true power lies in calm presence, steady compassion, and heartfelt integrity. The suit of swords represents the element of air, the realm of thought, communication, truth, and decision-making. Where the cups speak to the heart, the swords speak to the mind. They cut through illusion, revealing clarity, but can also wound if used without care. This suit is concerned with intellect, perception, and the choices we make based on what we understand. It deals with reasoning, analysis, justice, and conflict, the mental processes that shape our experiences. When swords appear in a reading, they often point to matters of communication, ethical decisions, problem solving, and the ways we use or misuse our words and thoughts. At their best, the swords bring truth, insight, and intellectual breakthrough. They show us how to think critically, communicate clearly, and act with integrity. At their most challenging, they can signal tension, arguments, cold logic without compassion, or mental strain. Just as a sword can be a tool of defense or a weapon, the mind can liberate or harm depending on how it is used. The suit of swords is linked to the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, each with its own way of engaging with thought and truth. Gemini brings curiosity and communication, Libra focuses on fairness and balance, and Aquarius offers vision and objectivity. From the sharp clarity of the ace to the complex trials of the 10, the swords trace a journey through the mental realm, from new ideas to the resolution of challenges. They remind us that thoughts shape reality, but also that wisdom comes from balancing mind, heart, and action. So ask yourself, how are you wielding your mental power? Is your truth cutting to heal or to harm? Because the suit of swords teaches one essential lesson: the mind is sharp, use it well. The Ace of Swords is a card of clarity, truth, and mental breakthrough. In the image, a hand emerges from a cloud, holding a gleaming sword upright. A crown encircles the blade, adorned with laurel and palm leaves, symbols of victory and achievement. Behind it, the sky is vast, with mountains in the distance, reminding us that truth clears the way forward, but the journey still lies ahead. Upright, the Ace of Swords represents a powerful moment of insight. This could be a sudden realization, a new perspective, or the courage to speak the truth. It cuts through confusion, offering mental clarity where there was once doubt. This card often signals the start of a new idea, project, or conversation, one guided by honesty and precision. Reversed, the sword's edge can become blurred. Confusion, miscommunication, or half-truths may cloud the situation. You might be struggling to see the facts clearly, or feeling paralyzed by too many competing thoughts. It can also warn of using truth as a weapon, cutting others down rather than using clarity to build understanding. Astrologically, the Ace of Swords resonates with the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and the energy of pure mental potential. Its element is air, representing thought, speech, and intellectual vision. When the Ace of Swords appears, it's an invitation to embrace the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. This is the moment to think clearly, speak honestly, and act with purpose. The sword is in your hand. How you use it matters. So ask yourself, what truth is ready to be spoken or acknowledged? And are you willing to see things exactly as they are? Because this card reminds you, clarity is power, and with it comes the responsibility to use it wisely. The Two of Swords is a card of decision, balance, and mental crossroads. In the image, a blindfolded figure sits by the sea, holding two swords crossed over their chest. The water behind them is calm, but dotted with rocks, obstacles that are unseen yet present. The moon hangs in the sky, hinting at intuition and the unseen forces at play. Upright, the Two of Swords represents a choice that needs to be made, but where clarity is lacking. You may be avoiding a decision, hoping it will resolve itself, or feeling torn between two equally compelling options. The blindfold suggests that facts alone may not be enough. Intuition and emotional honesty are also required. This card encourages you to pause, gather the information you need, and trust both mind and heart in making your choice. Reversed, the Two of Swords can signal indecision tipping into stagnation, or a refusal to see the truth. It might reflect confusion caused by hidden information or an internal block that stops you from choosing a path. Alternatively, it may mean a decision has been made, but uncertainty about its consequences remains. Astrologically, the Two of Swords corresponds to the moon in Libra, a blend of emotional awareness and the desire for harmony, sometimes at the cost of direct action. The element is air, highlighting logic, perspective, and the need for mental clarity. When the Two of Swords appears, it's a sign to face the decision at hand with honesty. Waiting forever will not make the answer clearer. Sometimes movement is the only way to see the path. So ask yourself, what truth are you avoiding? And what would happen if you faced it now? Because this card reminds you, not choosing is still a choice. The Three of Swords is a card of heartbreak, sorrow, and emotional truth. In the image, three swords pierce a red heart suspended against a grey, rain-filled sky. The imagery is simple yet powerful, a direct expression of pain, loss, and difficult realizations. The storm suggests that emotions are raw, but like all weather, it will pass. Upright, the Three of Swords points to emotional wounding, heartbreak in love, disappointment in trust, or grief over something deeply valued. It can also represent moments of painful clarity, where truth cuts sharply, but reveals what must be faced. While this card can be difficult, it is not without purpose. It reminds us that pain is part of growth, and that healing often begins with acknowledging the hurt. Reversed, the card may indicate that the pain is lifting, old wounds are healing, or forgiveness is possible. Alternatively, it can point to suppressed grief or unresolved hurt that still needs expression. Avoiding the truth may delay, rather than prevent, the healing process. Astrologically, the Three of Swords is linked to Saturn in Libra, the meeting point between life's lessons and the desire for fairness and harmony. The element is air, showing that the root of the pain often lies in communication, perception, or realization, rather than pure emotion alone. When the Three of Swords appears, it's a moment to honor what you feel without rushing past it. Pain acknowledged is pain that can be healed. So ask yourself, what truth has pierced your heart? And how can you care for yourself in its wake? Because this card reminds you, the storm clears, and while the heart may be changed, it can still beat strongly again. The Four of Swords is a card of rest, recovery, and quiet reflection. In the image, a figure lies on a stone tomb, hands folded in prayer or meditation. Above them, three swords hang on the wall, while one sword rests beneath them. A stained glass window shows a scene of compassion and blessing, suggesting that this stillness is not abandonment, but sanctuary. Upright, the Four of Swords calls for a pause. It may follow a period of stress, conflict, or emotional strain, a reminder that the mind and body both need time to recover. This is not the moment for action or decision-making, but for mental clarity, spiritual grounding, and physical rest. By stepping back, you create space for renewal and fresh perspective. Reversed, the card can indicate restlessness, burnout, or avoidance of the stillness you actually need. You may be trying to push forward when your energy is depleted, or resisting time alone because it feels uncomfortable. Alternatively, it may mean you are emerging from a period of rest, ready to re-engage with the world. Astrologically, the Four of Swords corresponds to Jupiter in Libra, the expansion of harmony, balance, and recovery through reflection. The element is air, showing that this is a pause for the mind as much as for the body. When the Four of Swords appears, it's an invitation to step away from noise and demands. Rest is not weakness, it is preparation. So ask yourself, where in your life is stillness needed? And are you willing to honor it before moving forward? Because this card reminds you, even the sharpest sword must be sheathed if it is to remain strong. The Five of Swords is a card of conflict, tension, and the consequences of winning at any cost. In the image, a figure stands holding three swords, looking back over their shoulder. Two more swords lie on the ground, and in the distance, two people walk away in defeat. The sky is grey and unsettled, suggesting that the outcome, though decisive, may not feel like a true victory. Upright, the Five of Swords often points to arguments, competition, or power struggles, where someone is determined to come out on top, even if it damages relationships. It can indicate the need to ask yourself whether the fight is worth it, or whether pride and ego are leading the way. Sometimes it's a warning about manipulation, dishonesty, or a hollow sense of triumph. Reversed, the card may show reconciliation, lessons learned from past disputes, or an awareness of how conflict has cost more than it gave. It can also reflect lingering resentment, or the difficulty of letting go after a disagreement. Astrologically, the Five of Swords is linked to Venus in Aquarius, the tension between individuality and connection, and the challenge of keeping compassion alive during conflict. Its element is air, focusing on words, thoughts, and mental strategies rather than physical battle. When the Five of Swords appears, it asks you to consider the bigger picture. Sometimes stepping away is wiser than proving a point. True strength is not always about domination. It can also be about choosing peace. So ask yourself, what does winning really mean to you in this situation? And is it worth the cost? Because this card reminds you, a hollow victory leaves the heart as empty as the field once the battle is over. The Six of Swords is a card of transition, healing, and moving toward calmer ground. In the image, a small boat carries 3 figures across a body of water. The swords stand upright in the boat, symbolizing the lessons and experiences they carry with them. The waters near the boat are choppy, but ahead lies a smooth, still expanse. This is a journey away from turbulence and toward a more peaceful place. Upright, the Six of Swords suggests leaving a difficult situation behind. This may be a physical move, a change in circumstances, or an emotional shift. It is not an escape in haste, but a conscious choice to move toward better conditions. While the journey may not be easy, it promises relief and the hope of renewal. Reversed, the card can indicate resistance to change, difficulty letting go, or feeling stuck between where you've been and where you want to go. It may also suggest returning to an old situation, willingly or otherwise, to resolve unfinished matters. Astrologically, the Six of Swords corresponds to Mercury in Aquarius, a blend of clear thinking and forward vision, with a willingness to explore new possibilities. The element is air, showing that this passage is guided by perspective, logic, and mental clarity, even when emotions feel unsettled. When the Six of Swords appears, it is a quiet but firm reassurance that progress is possible. You are moving toward calmer waters, even if you can't yet see the full shore. So ask yourself, what are you ready to leave behind? And how can you make the journey easier on yourself? Because this card reminds you, healing isn't always a sudden leap. Sometimes it's a slow, steady crossing to a place where you can finally rest. The Seven of Swords is a card of strategy, secrecy, and the blurred line between cunning and dishonesty. In the image, a figure slips away from a camp carrying 5 swords in their arms, while 2 remain planted in the ground. They glance back over their shoulder, as if checking whether they've been seen. The scene suggests careful planning, or perhaps deception. Upright, the Seven of Swords can indicate a need for tact and discretion. Sometimes it points to working quietly on your own plans, protecting your ideas, or taking an unconventional approach to achieve your goals. Other times, it warns of dishonesty, hidden motives, or avoidance of responsibility, either by you or someone else. This is a card that asks, are you acting in integrity, or taking shortcuts that could cost you later? Reversed, the card can reveal the truth coming to light, the exposure of deception, or a return to honesty after a period of secrecy. It may also suggest self-deception, convincing yourself of something that deep down you know is untrue. Astrologically, the Seven of Swords is linked to the moon in Aquarius, an energy that blends independent thinking with the tendency to keep things hidden, whether for protection or personal advantage. The element is air, connecting this card to mental planning, strategy, and communication. When the Seven of Swords appears, it invites you to think carefully about your methods and motives. Cleverness is valuable, but when it crosses into dishonesty, the cost can outweigh the gain. So ask yourself, are you protecting your plans or avoiding accountability? Because this card reminds you, strategy can be a strength, but without honesty, it becomes a trap of your own making. The Eight of Swords is a card of restriction, self-doubt, and the feeling of being trapped. In the image, a blindfolded woman stands surrounded by 8 swords planted upright in the ground. Her arms are bound, and she stands on soft, wet ground near water, a symbol of emotions. The sky is grey, but the space around her is open enough to escape if she chooses. This is a prison of the mind rather than an unbreakable barrier. Upright, the 8 of Swords represents a sense of limitation, often caused by fear, uncertainty, or negative self-talk. You may feel powerless, unable to see a way forward, or paralysed by conflicting thoughts. This card reminds you that while your situation may be challenging, your mind might be holding you more tightly than reality does. The way out begins with shifting perspective and believing in your ability to act. Reversed, the 8 of Swords can signal release from restriction, gaining clarity, or reclaiming personal power after a period of fear. It may also indicate continued avoidance, refusing to face the truth because it feels too overwhelming. Astrologically, the 8 of Swords corresponds to Jupiter in Gemini, expansion and opportunity limited by overthinking, doubt, or excessive mental chatter. The element is air, highlighting thoughts, perceptions, and the influence of the mind on how we experience reality. When the 8 of Swords appears, it's a call to recognise that the key to freedom often lies within your own thoughts and choices. So ask yourself, are you truly trapped? Or are you holding yourself in place with old beliefs? Because this card reminds you, the moment you choose to see clearly, the path out begins to appear. The 9 of Swords is a card of anxiety, worry, and mental unrest. In the image, a figure sits upright in bed, hands covering their face. 9 swords hang on the dark wall above them, like looming thoughts that will not let them rest. The quilt on the bed is decorated with roses and astrological symbols, reminders that beauty and order still exist, even when the mind is caught in turmoil. Upright, the 9 of Swords represents sleepless nights, overthinking, or emotional distress that feels relentless. You may be replaying conversations, imagining worst-case scenarios, or feeling weighed down by guilt, fear, or regret. While the feelings are real, this card asks you to recognise that the mind can magnify worries until they seem larger than they truly are. Reversed, the 9 of Swords may point to relief from anxiety, or the slow process of letting go of fearful thoughts. It can also signal that worry has been suppressed rather than addressed, which can keep it lingering in the background. Facing the root cause is essential for true release. Astrologically, the 9 of Swords corresponds to Mars in Gemini, mental energy that can either solve problems or exhaust itself in constant overthinking. The element is air, showing that this struggle is largely mental and may not match the reality of the situation. When the 9 of Swords appears, it's a compassionate nudge to acknowledge your fears without letting them rule you. Support, perspective, and self-kindness are crucial now. So ask yourself, are you carrying worries alone that could be shared? And is your mind telling the whole truth, or just the most fearful version of it? Because this card reminds you, the dawn is always closer than it feels in the darkest hour. The 10 of Swords is a card of endings, release, and the finality of a difficult chapter. In the image, a figure lies face down on the ground, with 10 swords piercing their back. The scene is dramatic. The sky is dark and heavy, yet on the horizon, the first light of dawn is breaking. This is a card of closure, where something has come to a complete and irreversible end. Upright, the 10 of Swords represents a painful conclusion. This could be the collapse of a relationship, a sudden realization, betrayal, or a situation that has run its course. While the imagery is intense, it also carries the promise that the worst is over. What's been endured cannot happen again in the same way. There is now space for renewal and a fresh start. Reversed, the card may suggest recovery after hardship, the lifting of burdens, or a slow release from something that has held you down. Alternatively, it can indicate resistance to letting go, clinging to something long past its natural end. Astrologically, the 10 of Swords is linked to the Sun in Gemini, a pairing that blends sharp mental awareness with the ability to see truth clearly, even if it's uncomfortable. The element is air, emphasizing perspective, thought, and the mental processing of endings. When the 10 of Swords appears, it's a moment to acknowledge reality fully and to allow yourself to move on. Painful as it may be, endings clear the ground for new beginnings. So ask yourself, what is finished, and how can you honour its closure? because this card reminds you, when the night feels darkest, the sunrise is already breaking just beyond the horizon. The Page of Swords is a card of curiosity, alertness, and the eagerness to learn. In the image, a young figure stands on uneven ground, holding a sword upright and glancing over their shoulder. The wind blows through their hair, and clouds move swiftly in the sky, suggesting quick thinking and readiness for change. This page is watchful, prepared to act, question, and explore. Upright, the Page of Swords represents a thirst for knowledge, fresh ideas, and mental agility. You may be beginning a new study, conversation, or project, and your mind is alive with questions. It can also signal important news or a message coming your way. This card encourages you to stay alert, think critically, and be willing to adapt as new information arrives. Reversed, the page's energy may turn restless, scattered, or overly defensive. It can point to gossip, misunderstandings, or speaking before you have the full story. It may also indicate hesitation to speak your truth, or a need to double-check facts before taking action. Astrologically, the Page of Swords resonates with the element of air in its youthful form, representing Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Qualities like curiosity, communication, and quick wit. This is mental energy at the stage of exploration, rather than mastery. When the Page of Swords appears, it's an invitation to remain open, ask questions, and approach life as a student of experience. Listen carefully, speak thoughtfully, and be ready to learn from what you observe. So ask yourself, what new truth is ready to be explored? And are you willing to hear perspectives that challenge your own? Because this card reminds you, knowledge is a journey, and every answer you find will open the door to another question. The Knight of Swords is a card of swift action, determination, and intellectual drive. In the image, a knight charges forward on a galloping horse, sword raised high with clouds racing overhead and trees bent in the wind. His energy is fierce, focused, and relentless. This is a figure who moves without hesitation toward their goal. Upright, the Knight of Swords represents ambition, direct communication, and the courage to act decisively. It may signal a sudden burst of motivation, the arrival of important news, or the need to tackle a challenge head-on. This card encourages clarity of thought, quick decision-making, and the confidence to move forward. But it also warns against acting so fast that you overlook details or consequences. Reversed, the Knight's energy can become reckless, impulsive, or confrontational. It might indicate rushing into arguments, acting on incomplete information, or pushing an agenda too forcefully. It may also suggest mental burnout from constantly running at full speed without pause. Astrologically, the Knight of Swords aligns with air in its active, forceful form, often associated with Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius when they are driven by conviction and urgency. The element of air brings logic, ideas, and communication to the forefront. But here it is fueled by speed and intensity. When the Knight of Swords appears, it's a sign to harness determination while keeping sight of strategy. Moving boldly is valuable, but only when your direction is as clear as your drive. So ask yourself, are you charging toward your goal with a clear plan, or just charging forward for the sake of movement? Because this card reminds you, speed can win the race, but only if you're heading in the right direction. The Queen of Swords is a card of clarity, truth, and perceptive wisdom. In the image, the Queen sits tall on her throne, sword held upright in one hand while the other extends forward in welcome, or perhaps in challenge. The sky behind her is bright and clear, reflecting her sharp mind and ability to see through pretense. She is fair but firm, warm yet uncompromising when it comes to truth. Upright, the Queen of Swords represents clear thinking, strong boundaries, and honest communication. She may symbolize a person, wise, perceptive, and direct, or an energy you are being called to embody. This card encourages you to cut through confusion, speak your truth without embellishment, and make decisions based on facts rather than wishful thinking. Reversed, her clarity can turn cold. It may point to harshness, overcritical thinking, or the shutting down of emotions entirely. Alternatively, it could signal difficulty expressing yourself openly, perhaps out of fear of judgment or rejection. The challenge is to balance truth with compassion. Astrologically, the Queen of Swords is connected to Libra and Virgo energy, analytical, fair, and precise, with an emphasis on justice and reason. Her element is air, highlighting thought, communication, and perspective. When the Queen of Swords appears, it's a sign to trust your judgment. See the situation for what it is, not just for what you hope it to be. Be open to dialogue, but do not waver in your principles. So ask yourself, are you speaking and acting from a place of truth? And are you balancing reason with empathy? Because this card reminds you, clarity is a gift, but it is strongest when tempered with understanding. The King of Swords is a card of authority, intellect, and strategic clarity. In the image, the king sits firmly on his throne, sword held upright in his right hand. His gaze is direct, his posture confident. The sky is clear and the trees stand still, reflecting the stability and order that come from decisive, well-considered judgment. This is a ruler of the mind, fair, logical, and committed to truth. Upright, the King of Swords represents mental mastery, ethical leadership, and the ability to see situations objectively. He may symbolize a person who offers wise counsel, or the qualities you are being called to develop: discernment, strategic thinking, and the courage to act on what you know is right. This card encourages you to make decisions based on reason, facts, and a broader perspective, rather than emotion alone. Reversed, the King's clarity can become rigid or misused. It may indicate manipulation through words, overbearing authority, or making decisions without compassion. Alternatively, it can signal self-doubt in your own reasoning or difficulty speaking with confidence. Astrologically, the King of Swords is tied to Aquarius energy, visionary, rational, and capable of seeing the bigger picture. Though his qualities can also align with Gemini and Libra, his element is air, representing thought, communication, and fairness. When the King of Swords appears, it's a reminder to step into your authority with integrity, weigh the evidence, speak with honesty, and lead from a place of mental strength. So ask yourself, are you making choices guided by truth and principle? And are you using your influence to bring clarity, not control? Because this card reminds you, the sharpest mind is one that serves justice, not ego. The suit of Pentacles represents the element of earth, the realm of the physical, material, and practical. Where the cups speak to emotions, the swords to the mind, and the wands to inspiration, the pentacles deal with tangible reality: work, finances, possessions, health, and the foundations that support our lives. This suit is concerned with how we create stability, build security, and shape our material world. It speaks to long-term effort, patience, and the rewards of steady dedication. Pentacles can point to career developments, financial matters, home life, or physical well-being, but also to our values, self-worth, and the ways we measure success. At their best, the Pentacles offer prosperity, groundedness, and a sense of purpose achieved through consistent effort. They remind us that true wealth is not just about money. It can also be found in health, relationships, and the satisfaction of work well done. At their most challenging, they can reveal stagnation, financial strain, over-attachment to possessions, or placing too much value on status over substance. The suit of Pentacles is linked to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, each with their own approach to building and sustaining. Taurus brings persistence and appreciation of comfort. Virgo offers organization and service, while Capricorn contributes ambition and a long-term vision. From the promise of the ace to the mastery of the king, the Pentacles trace a journey of growth in the material realm, showing that true abundance is built one step at a time. So ask yourself, what are you building? And on what foundation does it rest? Because the suit of Pentacles teaches one lasting truth: what you nurture with care will grow strong enough to support you for years to come. The Ace of Pentacles is a card of opportunity, prosperity, and the promise of new beginnings in the material world. In the image, a great golden coin floats in the air, held by a hand emerging from a cloud. Below, a lush garden blooms with flowers and greenery, while a path leads through an archway toward distant mountains. This scene symbolizes potential that is both abundant and attainable, an invitation to step into growth and stability. Upright, The Ace of Pentacles represents the seed of material success. This could be a new job, business idea, financial opportunity, home or investment in your well-being. It's the tangible start of something that can grow into lasting security, provided you nurture it with patience and dedication. It's a reminder that abundance is not only possible, but available to you now if you are willing to take practical steps toward it. Reversed, the Ace's energy may feel blocked or delayed. It could indicate a missed opportunity, poor planning, or a lack of readiness to seize the chance in front of you. It may also point to focusing too much on short-term gain at the expense of long-term stability. The message here is to ground yourself, prepare, and realign with your core values. Astrologically, the Ace of Pentacles resonates with the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, all of which share a dedication to building solid, lasting foundations. Its element is earth, representing stability, practicality, and physical well-being. When the Ace of Pentacles appears, it's a green light to begin, to plant the seed and trust the process of growth. So ask yourself, what opportunity is ready to be claimed, and how can you lay the strongest foundation for it to thrive? Because this card reminds you, every great achievement starts as a single well-tended seed. The Two of Pentacles is a card of balance, adaptability, and managing life's moving parts. In the image, a figure stands on the shore, juggling two golden pentacles connected by a looping infinity symbol. Behind them, ships ride the waves of a restless sea, rising and falling, much like the demands of daily life. The scene reflects the need to stay flexible and light-footed, even when circumstances are in constant motion. Upright, the Two of Pentacles represents the ability to manage multiple responsibilities, priorities, or opportunities at once. You may be balancing work and personal life, shifting between projects, or navigating financial ups and downs. This card encourages you to stay adaptable and resourceful, using creativity and good time management to keep everything in motion without losing your rhythm. It's a reminder that balance is not about stillness, but about adjusting as life changes. Reversed, the card may point to feeling overwhelmed, disorganized, or stretched too thin. You may be struggling to keep up with demands or neglecting one area of life in favor of another. Alternatively, it can indicate the need to make a choice instead of trying to juggle everything at once. Astrologically, the Two of Pentacles corresponds to Jupiter in Capricorn, a blend of expansion and ambition, paired with the discipline required to keep growth sustainable. The element is earth, grounding this card in practical action and tangible results. When the Two of Pentacles appears, it's a reminder that you have the skill to adapt, but you must also know your limits. Balance is a living, breathing process, not a fixed state. So ask yourself, what are you juggling, and does everything you're holding truly deserve your energy? Because this card reminds you, harmony is found in movement, not in standing still. The Three of Pentacles is a card of teamwork, skill, and the rewards of collaboration. In the image, a craftsman stands on a bench, working on the stonework of a cathedral. Two figures, a monk and an architect, stand below, holding plans and discussing the project. Each person brings their own expertise, and together they are creating something lasting and valuable. Upright, the Three of Pentacles represents cooperation, shared goals, and the power of combining talents. It suggests that your skills are recognized and valued, and that working with others can bring greater results than working alone. This card can point to successful partnerships in business, creative projects, or personal endeavors, where mutual respect and communication are key. It is also a sign that hard work and dedication to your craft will lead to tangible progress. Reversed, the card may suggest miscommunication, lack of teamwork, or feeling undervalued. It could indicate a group effort where egos clash, roles are unclear, or contributions go unrecognized. Alternatively, it may signal a need to develop your skills further before tackling the task at hand. Astrologically, the Three of Pentacles corresponds to Mars in Capricorn, ambition channeled into disciplined, steady work, and the determination to build something of lasting worth. Its element is earth, grounding the card in practical effort and real-world results. When the Three of Pentacles appears, it's a reminder that success is often a shared achievement. By combining strengths, listening to others, and respecting each person's role, you can create something far greater than the sum of its parts. So ask yourself, are you working in harmony with others toward a shared vision? Because this card reminds you, great structures aren't built alone. They rise from skill, dedication, and the hands of many. The Four of Pentacles is a card of security, stability, and the relationship we have with material possessions. In the image, a seated figure holds a coin tightly against their chest, with another balanced on their head and two more secured beneath their feet. Their posture is closed, protective, and unyielding. The city in the background suggests that they are keeping their resources close, away from outside influences. Upright, the Four of Pentacles can represent financial stability, careful budgeting, and the desire to protect what you've earned. It may indicate that you are building a solid foundation for yourself, or that you value safety over risk. However, it can also warn against holding on too tightly, whether to money, possessions, routines, or even relationships, to the point where fear of loss limits growth. Reversed, the card may suggest releasing control, loosening your grip, or learning to trust that security comes from within, not just from external resources. It can also signal financial instability, or the need to reassess how you manage money and possessions. Astrologically, the Four of Pentacles corresponds to the Sun in Capricorn, ambition paired with the desire to maintain and protect what has been achieved. The element is Earth, grounding the card in the material realm and practical matters. When the Four of Pentacles appears, it invites you to reflect on what security means to you. Is it supporting you or holding you back? True stability allows for generosity, openness, and trust in your ability to adapt. So ask yourself, are you protecting your resources wisely, or are you guarding them out of fear? Because this card reminds you, the tighter the grip, the less room there is for growth. The Five of Pentacles is a card of hardship, uncertainty, and the challenges of material or emotional loss. In the image, two figures walk through the snow, one on crutches, the other barefoot and wrapped in a thin shawl. Behind them, the warm light of a stained glass window glows with 5 golden pentacles, a reminder that sanctuary and help are nearby, even if they cannot see it in the moment. Upright, the Five of Pentacles often reflects periods of financial strain, illness, insecurity, or feeling left out in the cold. It can represent the experience of being unsupported, whether in material needs or emotional connection. Yet despite its heavy tone, this card also carries a quiet message. Help is available, though it may require humility to seek it out. Sometimes the greatest challenge is reaching for the hand that is extended toward us. Reversed, the card can indicate recovery, improvement in finances or health, or finding support after a difficult time. It may also suggest a shift in perspective, realizing that a period of struggle is temporary and that change is possible. Astrologically, the Five of Pentacles corresponds to Mercury in Taurus, the tension between practical needs and a feeling of lack, with the potential for problem solving if communication and resourcefulness are embraced. The element is Earth, grounding the card in tangible realities and physical well-being. When the Five of Pentacles appears, it's a reminder that even in times of scarcity, connection and compassion are powerful resources. You are not defined by this moment, and this chapter does not determine the whole story. So ask yourself, are you willing to seek or accept help when you need it most? Because this card reminds you, even in the coldest winter, there is a doorway to warmth. The Six of Pentacles is a card of generosity, fairness, and the balance between giving and receiving. In the image, a well-dressed figure stands holding a set of scales in one hand, symbolizing fairness and equality. With the other hand, they offer coins to two figures kneeling before them. The scene reflects charity, kindness, and the flow of resources, both material and otherwise, from those who have enough to those in need. Upright, the Six of Pentacles suggests acts of generosity, support, and the sharing of resources. This may be you offering help, financially, emotionally, or through guidance, or it could mean receiving assistance from someone in a stronger position. It reminds us that life moves in cycles. Sometimes we are the giver, other times the receiver. The presence of the scales also speaks to fairness, balance, and integrity in how resources are distributed. Reversed, the card may point to imbalance in giving and receiving. Perhaps generosity is offered with strings attached, or pride makes it difficult to accept help. It can also indicate financial dependency, inequality, or a misuse of power. The challenge is to restore fairness and ensure that generosity comes from a place of true compassion. Astrologically, the Six of Pentacles corresponds to the moon in Taurus, a combination that blends emotional understanding with a practical approach to stability and comfort. The element is earth, grounding the card in tangible acts and real-world support. When the Six of Pentacles appears, it encourages you to consider your role in the cycle of generosity. True giving enriches both the giver and the receiver, creating harmony and trust. So ask yourself, where can you give freely? And where might you need to receive with grace? Because this card reminds you, generosity is not just about money, it is about heart. The Seven of Pentacles is a card of patience, reflection, and assessing long-term progress. In the image, a figure leans on their staff, looking thoughtfully at a lush bush bearing 7 golden pentacles. Their posture suggests a pause, the moment between effort and reward, when you take stock of how far you've come and consider your next steps. Upright, the Seven of Pentacles represents evaluation and the need for patience as your efforts continue to grow. You may be waiting for the results of a project, investment, or personal goal. This card reminds you that meaningful achievements take time and consistent care. It's also a prompt to review your path. Is the work you're putting in aligned with the outcome you truly want? If not, adjustments can still be made. Reversed, the card can point to frustration with slow progress, impatience, or the feeling that your hard work is not paying off as expected. It may also signal wasted effort, lack of planning, or the need to change direction entirely. The lesson is to balance persistence with adaptability. Astrologically, the Seven of Pentacles corresponds to Saturn in Taurus, steady, disciplined energy, combined with a focus on building long-term security. Its element is earth, grounding the card in tangible effort and results. When the Seven of Pentacles appears, it's an invitation to pause and reflect, rather than rush ahead. The seeds you've planted are growing, even if the harvest is not yet ready. Trust the process, but also make sure you are tending the right garden. So ask yourself, is the effort you're giving now truly worth the outcome you're working toward? Because this card reminds you, patience is not waiting idly, it is active care for what matters most. The Eight of Pentacles is a card of dedication, mastery, and the steady work of honing your craft. In the image, a figure sits at a workbench, carefully carving a pentacle into a golden coin. 7 completed coins are displayed on a wooden post beside them, each one a testament to their progress and skill. The setting is modest, reflecting that true achievement often grows quietly through persistence rather than grand displays. Upright, the Eight of Pentacles represents focus, learning, and the discipline needed to refine your abilities. It can indicate apprenticeship, study, or committing yourself to a project with care and precision. This card celebrates the process as much as the end result, reminding you that mastery comes through repetition, attention to detail, and the willingness to keep improving. Reversed, the card can point to boredom with routine, careless work, or a lack of commitment to quality. It may suggest cutting corners, neglecting your growth, or resisting the effort needed to advance. Alternatively, it can indicate that you're working hard but in the wrong direction, and may need to reassess your focus. Astrologically, the Eight of Pentacles corresponds to the Sun in Virgo, meticulous, dedicated, and committed to doing things well. Its element is earth, rooting it in the tangible results of consistent effort. When the Eight of Pentacles appears, it's a sign that your dedication is paying off, or that now is the time to invest fully in developing your skills. Progress may be steady rather than swift, but it will last. So ask yourself, are you putting in the time and attention your goal truly deserves? Because this card reminds you, excellence is not born overnight. It is built one deliberate step at a time. The Nine of Pentacles is a card of independence, self-sufficiency, and the rewards of hard work. In the image, a well-dressed figure stands in a lush garden, surrounded by ripening grapevines heavy with pentacles. A falcon rests calmly on their gloved hand, symbolizing discipline, refinement, and control. This is a scene of comfort, achievement, and the enjoyment of a life built through steady effort. Upright, the Nine of Pentacles represents financial stability, personal freedom, and the satisfaction of having earned your place. It speaks of self-reliance, confidence, and the ability to enjoy the fruits of your labor. This card can also point to the importance of creating beauty and harmony in your surroundings, as a reflection of the care you've invested in yourself and your goals. Reversed, the card may indicate over-dependence on others, living beyond your means, or focusing too much on material display at the expense of deeper fulfillment. It can also signal the need to acknowledge your own achievements instead of downplaying them. Astrologically, the Nine of Pentacles corresponds to Venus in Virgo, a blend of practicality and elegance, with an appreciation for quality and the pleasures that come from meaningful effort. The element is Earth, grounding the card in tangible results and stability. When the Nine of Pentacles appears, it's a reminder to honour both the journey and the destination. You've worked for this level of security and grace. Now allow yourself to enjoy it without guilt. So ask yourself, are you appreciating the life you've built, or rushing past it in search of the next goal? Because this card reminds you, true wealth is not just in what you own, but in the freedom and peace your efforts have made possible. The Ten of Pentacles is a card of legacy, stability, and the rewards of long-term effort. In the image, an elderly figure sits in a richly adorned courtyard, surrounded by family, pets, and the symbols of wealth and comfort. The scene is filled with layers, generations, traditions, and the security that comes from a well-built foundation. 10 golden pentacles are arranged within the archway, symbolizing completeness and abundance. Upright, the Ten of Pentacles represents lasting success, not just in terms of financial security, but in the creation of something enduring that benefits others as well. It can point to family bonds, inheritance, shared resources, or the fulfillment of long-term goals. This card reminds you that what you build today can provide stability and comfort for years to come. Reversed, the Ten of Pentacles may suggest family conflict, financial instability, or difficulty maintaining long-term security. It can also indicate a clash between tradition and personal values, or the realization that material comfort alone does not guarantee happiness. Astrologically, the Ten of Pentacles corresponds to Mercury in Virgo, careful planning, practical communication, and the intelligent management of resources. The element is Earth, emphasizing the material, physical, and foundational aspects of life. When the Ten of Pentacles appears, it's a sign to consider the bigger picture. This is about more than short-term gains. It's about building something that will last, and that you can take pride in passing on. So ask yourself, what legacy are you creating, and how will it support both you and those who come after you? Because this card reminds you, true wealth is measured not only by what you have, but by what remains long after you are gone. The Page of Pentacles is a card of ambition, learning, and the early stages of building something tangible. In the image, a young figure stands in a green field, holding a golden pentacle with both hands and gazing at it intently. Behind them, the landscape is rich with growth, and the horizon stretches wide, symbolizing both opportunity and the work ahead. This page is grounded but full of curiosity, ready to turn ideas into reality. Upright, the Page of Pentacles represents new beginnings in the material realm, a fresh project, course of study, financial opportunity, or a personal goal related to health or skill building. It encourages a mindset of exploration and steady application, reminding you that learning and practice are essential for success. This is the energy of a student, apprentice, or anyone willing to start at the beginning to master their craft. Reversed, the page's enthusiasm may be blocked by procrastination, lack of focus, or an unwillingness to put in the necessary effort. It can suggest missed opportunities due to inaction, or not following through on plans. It may also point to needing more preparation before moving forward. Astrologically, the Page of Pentacles resonates with Earth energy in its youthful exploratory form. Connected to Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, it brings practicality, patience, and a desire to see tangible progress, even in the smallest steps. When the Page of Pentacles appears, it's an invitation to approach your goals with curiosity, discipline, and the willingness to learn as you go. The path may be long, but each step brings you closer to mastery. So ask yourself, what new skill or opportunity is ready for you to explore? Because this card reminds you, every expert once began with a single careful step. The Knight of Pentacles is a card of diligence, responsibility, and steady progress. In the image, the knight sits upon a strong, still horse, holding a golden pentacle in his hand. Unlike the other knights, he is not charging ahead. His posture is calm and deliberate. Behind him, the fields are freshly ploughed, symbolizing preparation, patience, and the slow but certain work of building something worthwhile. Upright, the Knight of Pentacles represents persistence, reliability, and commitment to a goal. This is the energy of showing up consistently, doing the work, and trusting that results will follow in time. It can refer to someone in your life, or an aspect of yourself, who approaches tasks with care, thoroughness, and responsibility. While this knight may lack speed or drama, he excels in creating lasting stability. Reversed, the knight's dependable energy can turn into stagnation, stubbornness, or reluctance to adapt. It may suggest procrastination, resistance to necessary change, or becoming so focused on routine that progress slows to a halt. Alternatively, it could point to working hard without a clear sense of purpose or direction. Astrologically, the Knight of Pentacles resonates with the mutable earth energy of Virgo, practical, meticulous, and service-oriented, though it can also reflect the grounded qualities of Taurus and Capricorn. The element is earth, emphasizing tangible results and long-term commitment. When the Knight of Pentacles appears, it's a reminder that success is built on consistent effort rather than sudden leaps. This is a card of trust in the process, even when progress feels slow. So ask yourself, are you staying the course with patience or resisting necessary movement? Because this card reminds you, the seeds you tend with care will grow into the strongest harvest. The Queen of Pentacles is a card of abundance, practicality, and grounded nurturing. In the image, the Queen sits gracefully on a carved throne adorned with fruit, flowers, and animal motifs. She holds a golden pentacle in her lap, gazing at it with care and appreciation. Around her, lush greenery and a peaceful rabbit at her feet symbolize fertility, comfort, and the natural rewards of patience and dedication. Upright, the Queen of Pentacles represents the balance between practicality and care. She is resourceful and capable, able to create stability, while also nurturing the people and projects she values. This card can indicate financial security, a comfortable home, and the ability to provide for yourself and others. It may represent someone in your life, or an aspect of yourself, who blends warmth and compassion with strong organizational skills. Reversed, the Queen's grounded nature can turn into overextension, work-life imbalance, or neglecting self-care in the effort to care for others. It may suggest dependence on material stability to feel secure, or an overfocus on managing everything alone without accepting help. Astrologically, the Queen of Pentacles is associated with Capricorn energy, ambitious, capable, and deeply connected to building a lasting foundation, though her qualities can also align with Taurus and Virgo. The element is earth, linking her to material well-being, nature, and the practical aspects of life. When the Queen of Pentacles appears, it's a reminder that true prosperity includes comfort, care, and the ability to enjoy what you've built. This is a call to nurture both your resources and yourself. So ask yourself, are you balancing responsibility with self-care and stability with generosity? Because this card reminds you, abundance is richest when it's shared and sustained with love. The King of Pentacles is a card of wealth, stability, and the mastery of the material realm. In the image, the king sits upon an ornate throne decorated with carvings of bulls and vines, symbols of prosperity, strength, and steady growth. He wears luxurious robes embroidered with grapevines and holds a golden scepter in one hand, a pentacle in the other. Around him, his gardens flourish, a testament to his ability to create and sustain abundance. Upright, the King of Pentacles represents financial success, security, and the rewards of disciplined effort. This is someone who has built their kingdom through patience, wise decision-making, and a deep understanding of how to turn opportunity into lasting wealth. He values tradition, responsibility, and the enjoyment of well-earned comfort. This card can indicate a person of influence, a supportive benefactor, or your own ability to take control of your resources and create stability. Reversed, the King's grounded strength may shift into possessiveness, stubbornness, or overemphasis on material gain. It can warn of greed, a rigid attachment to routine, or valuing wealth above personal fulfillment. Alternatively, it may suggest poor financial judgment or a misuse of resources. Astrologically, the King of Pentacles resonates strongly with Taurus energy, patient, dependable, and attuned to the pleasures of life, though it also reflects the ambition of Capricorn and the practicality of Virgo. The element is earth, linking this card to stability, prosperity, and tangible success. When the King of Pentacles appears, it's a sign to step into your authority in the material world. Build wisely, invest with care, and enjoy the fruits of your labour without forgetting the effort it took to achieve them. So ask yourself, are you leading your realm with generosity as well as wisdom? Because this card reminds you, true kingship is measured not just by what you have, but by how you sustain it.